am so excited about today. I was so excited I didn't sleep last night. I literally did not sleep last night. It wasn't just about today's class, but other things going on. I don't do that very often, but I'm pumped. Are you guys excited about today? And the reason I'm saying it like this is I would love to start the series with this class. This is my favorite class and the next one, the next two, because it actually gets into what you guys want more than anything else. What do you want more than anything else? Well, money is the end goal, I guess, of that. But as far as your business goes, you want leads, right? Yeah. So I better say it before you throw out a bunch of other things that are inappropriate or weird. No, I'm just kidding. We all want more leads, but I wanted to make sure that when you got those opportunities, that when you step inside of someone's house or you have that conversation with them about the buying side, that you have a way to distinguish your offering from everybody else. Because you can't convert a good opportunity or a lead if you don't have a distinctive offering. And many of us as agents, and I say me included because we all have to figure it out, aren't really completely sure what our brand is, what it is that we offer that makes us different from the person sitting next to us, right? And all the other agents that are out there. Because if we don't have a distinctive brand or offering, and we're just about relationships. How many times have you heard that, right? It's about relationships. Be a good person and, take them to the heart. How many of you have your Harvest Pumpkin Patch event coming up and stuff like that? So I'm not saying there's anything bad about that, but to me, there's kind of a status quo. If you're not a good person that is a nice person and honest and helpful and all the things that kind of constitute what it means to have a good relationship, then no one's going to want to work with you anyway, right? That's something that should already be there. But to use that as your value proposition, like the reason you work for me is because I'm your friend and I like you, right? If we kind of leave it at that, it's really not enough to justify $30,000 or $20,000 in commission. I mean, you remember the homey billboards? You don't see them as much anymore now because they're struggling. But what was one of the biggest advertisements they had about paying your friend, right? Exactly. Well, not just keep your equity, but why pay your friend so much money? They had those kind of ads out there because it's more than just about friendships. What's it about when it comes to real estate and our services? It's business. It's about a professional service offering, right? I want my lawyer and my CPA to be nice people. Sometimes they're not. The CPA's, really not much of a personality, but loves numbers, or I don't know, you know what I mean. But to me, it's more important that they do their job really, really well, right? And when it comes to real estate, we need people to do their jobs really, really well. But a lot of times agents don't even know what the heck that means other than the transaction itself. And if all your job is to do in a transaction and be a nice person, there's really not much competition between one or the other. You can do it, we all can do it. But not every lawyer is the same, not every CPA is the same. I mean, they have a lot of similar offerings, but we want people to help us get to our end goal. What's the end goal of a seller? To get as much money as they can for their home and to sell it as quickly. We say quickly, but what do we really want them to do? Just in time. We want them to take time with us as we help them plan for that transition, because every seller has a transition. And many times we don't even deal with that. There's another agent on the other side. There's another deal that might be going on that we're not a part of, and we're just trying to get through the transaction. But for them, it's their whole life, it's their finances, it's the transition that matters, right? And if we're not a part of that, then all we are transaction coordinators. And I know you all want to be more than that. I have a TC. She's awesome, by the way, and I'm not diminishing that role in any way. But my role as the business owner of my real estate business is to help people accomplish their goals when it comes to real estate. And those goals, at the bottom level of that goal is to make the most money for their home and to sell it just in time. For the buyer, it's to get a good offer on a property, to be able to negotiate that with some strength, right, or some expertise, so they're not getting into something that they're going to regret later on. But I think above that is the ultimate goal of financial stability, right? Their ability to make a good investment and to know what to do with that investment. I have just started working with a client just a month and a half ago who heard about me from one of my listings. So the people that I helped them sell their house, and I gave them what they wanted to such a degree that they're telling their family. So their daughter and her husband calls me and said, hey, we heard that you help people invest in properties. We want to invest in properties. Well, within a week, they were under contract with a house. Now they're under contract with the second one. The first one hasn't even closed yet, and they're looking now to buy a third, because their ability to build and grow wealth through real estate and realizing how impactful that can be, because I can talk to them about that and I can offer that as a service, made them so excited. It was funny yesterday when I was with his wife. She's like, he wasn't there because he's at work. She's like, he wants to look at this house, but we also like this other one. We want to buy both. Can we do that? You know, we got a lender involved to do it. And she's like, yeah, he just wants to buy as many properties as he can right now, because they had a lot of money that wasn't really being used well in terms of what they were investing in, at least as well as they, you know, as I was talking to them about in terms of how to invest their money. Says, we want to get these homes before interest rates go down. Because what did they learn? What are they understanding?
Interest rates down.
Yeah, when interest rates go down, what's going to happen with all these people with pent up demand is the prices are going to go up. He's like, I want to buy them now. What's crazy and lovely and awesome about this job is when they start telling me what they want to do based on what I've taught them. They're using the same language, right? In terms of saying, we want to be able to get into these properties before the prices go up. We want to leverage our equity that we have in these other properties. We want to do this over a period of time, et cetera, right? So I'm excited for all of you right now to be a part of what we're going to talk about today, because I'm going to help you get the 2 to 3 deals that you want every single month. That's the sweet spot, I think, for any agent. That's my mission statement, by the way. How many of you have a mission statement? You do? What's your mission statement?
Work smart.
Work smart. Okay. Good.
Working on it.
Working on it. That's good. It's at least you've thought about it, right? Who else has a mission statement? Yes. What's yours?
Legacy living.
Legacy living. Okay.
Building wealth too.
Building wealth. Okay. And you've heard mission statements and value statements, right? Maybe goals and things like that. We talk about those things. So what's your mission? What are your goals? Are they measurable? So the 2 that were just mentioned, are those measurable?
They can be.
Okay, so let's make them measurable. How do you make that measurable?
Keep track of what I'm doing to work smart.
Okay, so work smart, keep track of it, but you have to put a number to it, right? To make it actually measurable. So you want to know what my mission is? 2 to 3 closings consistently every single month. I remind myself that every single day. When I get up in the morning, we'll talk about this next week. It's part of my morning routine. I want to remember that that's what I'm trying to do. How many of you would like to have 2 to 3 consistent closings every single month, right? Would you feel like you could have a good lifestyle, like you have time for your family and other things that are important to you, as well as be able to make the kind of money that you want? Does that sound about right? So for me, I've put that into a measurable mission statement, right? Just if you think of a mission statement, one of the most popular ones out there, the famous ones, is Bill Gates. Do you remember when Bill Gates started Microsoft? He had a mission statement, right? And that I remember because I was in college at the time, and that stuck out to me, right? What was that's how old I am. What was Bill Gates' mission statement? Anybody remember? Huh? Okay, which I would only expect from Sam. What was his? Anybody remember what it is? It's a really good one. I lived in the days, huh? One computer in every home. That was his mission statement. We're going to put a computer in every single home. Did his mission come true? There's actually multiple now in most everybody's home, but that was his mission statement. It was measurable. We're going to put a computer in every single person's home. My mission statement for my business is I want 2 to 3 closings every single month. And it means something to me. I didn't just throw out numbers. I didn't even put just a volume number or a commission number. 2 to 3 closings a month, because I know that if I can get 2 to 3 consistent closings every single month, then I've got enough money coming in. If the average amount that I can make per closing, since I don't have great big splits that I have to share because I'm able to generate that business, I can make $12,000 to $15,000 per closing, right? Times 3, that's pretty good money to have every single month consistently. Or 2, sometimes it works out that. But if I only have 1 or none, and then 2 months later I get 1 or none, or it goes like that. How many of you chase your commissions like this a little bit, right? We go after our business and then we get it, and then we get so excited about it and we hate the going after the business part that we just ignore that for a little while. And then we get excited, then we close, and then we're like, oh shoot, I don't have anybody lined up. And it takes a month or two to get them lined up again, and then we kind of do this. So to me, that's not a good business model. So my mission statement for my business, I want to put into place the things I need to do to get 2 to 3 closings every single month. Now, do I want to do that until I die? Bart does. I don't. So then what else do I have to have that makes this a true business model for me? I don't want a job. I want a business. So $15,000 to $20,000 a month in passive income within 10 years. How many of you would like to do that? Okay, maybe 5 years. Maybe some of you are already close to that. But you should all have that goal. And I don't, I'm looking in the back how young you are, and then I look at how old no, I'm just kidding, how old some of us are. And, we're at different stages in our career, whatever, so that may be a different time frame, but you should put a time to that. And where does passive income come from? If you have a real estate business and you're trying to create passive income, where can you get that income from? Rentals is the biggest one. So buy rentals. You can do flips, but you're going to get a payout for a flip. On a rental, like when I used to flip a bunch of homes before the 2008 crash, and then I got stuck with about 7 homes, I think it was, after the 2008 crash. I had friends that were doing it, and 2 of them went bankrupt and lost some of those homes, right? I was so determined not to let that happen, I started renting them out. And then after a few years of doing that, I was like, what the heck was I thinking flipping homes? I should have been renting. After 10 years, it was like, oh, okay, this is where the money is. And then if you talk to some others, they get into multi-unit properties and apartment complexes and things like that. I haven't gotten into that realm yet, but I have friends that have. I've been tempted, but I haven't gotten to that. But you should pick your model, and you should know what it is. So if you have a mission statement, if you can determine what that is, you're going to be more likely to reach the goals that you have if those are aligned with that mission statement. Does that make sense? Now, as far as being a good person and having great values or doing luxury or, remind me of yours again, Cheryl?
Work smart.
Working smart, being smart. Those things are going to be, things that you do to lead up to that measurable mission statement, those measurable goals. So I want you to all think about it. What is your mission statement? So then I built a company called Captivate that's part of what I offer. So guess what my mission statement now is in terms of this? Isn't just for me. This is what I want to help you do. If you'll work with us, I will help you get there, because that's now my mission, is to help you get 2 to 3 deals every single month. I'm not trying to sell you anything here, don't worry. But that's my mission now, is I want to help you get to that. And my mission now with that passive income is actually involving recruiting agents and doing things like that too. So I know what I believe in, what I want, what I'm trying to do, and I don't forget it. I remind myself of it every day. We're going to talk about this more next week. So this is what I want you to do over the next week, is I want you to come up with your mission statement and bring it next week. Everybody have it. You can write it in your book or somewhere else, but I want you to have a clear mission statement. But your mission statement, right? And it can be 2 parts like mine is, because to me, I have a job and I need to produce and I need to be able to get income, right? I need a monthly income to support my family, to support, our lives and things like that. So I've got that goal. But then I also have one where I can walk away from it and still have money coming in. So I want you to come up with what yours is. Got it? Can you do that? Are you going to show up next week? You better, because it'll be fun. Even if you don't worry, I won't pick on you or make you feel bad if you don't. But I might pick on some that are willing to volunteer what their mission statement is. But if yours is aligned with mine, that's what's nice when you have a mission statements that are aligned. If you're a business owner and you align your mission with the mission or a goal of your customer, what do you think happens? That's where the magic happens. When Bill Gates had his mission statement of 1 computer in every home, and then the people that were buying from him wanted to have a computer in their home that was aligned, right? It blew up, right? So that's what I want you to think about. What's your mission statement? Even the passive income. If you don't have a passive income mission statement and goal, right, that goes along with that doesn't align with where that money's going to come from, then it's never going to happen. So if I have rental properties, I have to consider where are the rental properties, how much am I charging for them, how I manage them, how I attract renters so that they want to stay in my places and stuff like that. So I have to make sure that my alignment to my mission is there for the people that are going to be paying for it, okay? And so we spent the first 5 weeks of this series talking about that alignment with our sellers and our buyers. And I hope you feel like you got enough information there to at least get things started. But I promise you, because it's my mission too, and I've spent a lot of time and money, and we got a team working on this, that if you will at least trust what I've given you, that it works, and put your own spin on it. But if you go into a house where they want to sell a house and you present that $20,000 listing presentation and you put all the pieces together, even if you modify some of them, you'll close more deals. You'll get more people that want to sell their house with you because you'll separate yourself from all those other agents. You'll be the nice person. You can still give them crumble cookies. I don't care. You can still wish them happy birthday and send them, recipe cards or whatever it is that you want to do that to me aren't related to real estate, but make you a nice person, right? But if you will walk in there with a pair of Oculus goggles and a 360 camera and tell them how you're going to advertise their property to help them get top dollar, and you explain to them that if you don't stage your house, you just walked away from 30 grand, literally. You'll pay 3 to get 30. How many wouldn't do that? I still have agents ask me all the time, I can't talk my clients into staging their home. I'm like, I get all of mine to do that because I'm so convinced at it. I mean, I look them straight in the eyes and I say, look, if you could put $3,000 in a machine that spits out $30,000, how often would you do that? And they're like, yeah, all day long. If you don't stage your home, you are basically walking away from $30,000. But I've got the evidence. I've done this. I've seen it. I even taught a series about 4 years ago where a builder was coming to my class every single week. I didn't even know he was a builder, but he was the husband of the broker. So they were coming together and they built spec homes. He tracked for an entire year. He came back to me a year later and he had tracked his spec homes that he started to stage instead of not, he never staged them before because he didn't think that it was worth the money to do it. And do you think builders are concerned about money? Yeah, they hedge against sometimes 10 years out of what kind of profit they'll make, right? In terms of, their developments. And there are many times where it's tough with the way the market goes in a period of that, 10 years. So he said he started staging them. He said the same make and model home. And we tracked this with furniture staged. They professionally did it. They even hired a professional stager now to do all their properties. Earned on average $38,000 more for this one model than when they didn't stage it. And it cost them like $2,000 to $2,500 to stage a property. It works. So things like that. I want you to feel so confident in your offering and so able with evidence, because you'll once you've done it and it works and you keep doing that you'll be able to go out there and convince people that you're the expert of what you do and what they should do to get what they want, and those line up, right? Those line up, and then you get deal after deal and referral after referral. It's fun too. It's so much fun to be a professional beyond the transaction. So hopefully you really enjoy this. But that's your assignment for next week, is to come up with your mission statement. Now, what I'm going to teach you today are the 4 main ways that you're going to generate leads. If you will follow these, you will get enough to do the 2 to 3 every single month. Now, is it going to happen just like that? Maybe not. Do you need to learn as you go along how to make this happen? What we've set up isn't just in the book. I know you're flipping through your book trying to think, okay, where is he right now? I know right now I'm jumping around a little bit. I've redone this whole course. This whole course is completely redone right now. So you may not be able to follow me so well in the book. Maybe write some notes. Not that it's not in here, but I wanted to be a little bit more intentional and clear about how to get the next deal, right? How to get those opportunities, okay? So just watch what's up here. Use your phone to take pictures if you want. I'll send you the presentation if you want it. But what we've done is we've set up resources that you can have access to through School, SKOOL, remember that? .com/Captivate-agent. If you haven't joined it, please join. It's free. I'm not I'm not trying to sell you anything on it, but that's where we put a lot of these resources. We had Lars Hindenburg from Real Estate B School on last week during our mastermind talking specifically about expireds. The couple of weeks before that, he talked about FSBOs. Well, we'll talk about that as a lead source. You need to understand how to get in front of more people. If you've got someone that's trying to sell their house on their own or tried to sell their house and it didn't work, do you think those are good people to go after if you have a distinctive offering that's going to give them more of what they want and do a better job of that effort, of that listing effort? How many of you feel after the $20,000 listing presentation, then the staging and flipping class, then the digital marketing class, then the grand open house class, that you now have more to offer to sellers that are trying to sell their house? Yeah. And some of you who have been doing it, right, and know it better than others that are just kind of hoping to get that opportunity. It works. I promise you it works. Okay? So that's what this is all about. How do we get those leads? So if you join school, you're going to see where we give you more insights to the things that I'm not going to be able to explain in just these classes, or you're going to get just in the book, okay? So I'm going to breeze through the first part of it. Your listings, by the way, are the number one way to generate business. The number one way. Now, you have to get listings in order to generate them. So how many of you are like, I still haven't gotten my first listing, since you started the class, or it's been a while since I've had listings. Once you get a listing, you should be getting 2 to 3 deals just out of that one listing. Our last listing, Jeff, how many did we end up? We're getting 3, 4, 5 sometimes, really great opportunities, and then closings that have already happened since just listings that happened last month, right? It happens. So just so you understand that, ads beyond the MLS. What do I mean by that? The social media advertising. Right now it's social media, that's the best place to do it. But every agent does what? They put the house where? On the MLS. And then I love it how the agents brag about all the syndicates that they put it on, which they didn't, because it automatically goes on there. Oh, it's on, we're going to put it on Zillow and Realtor.com and Truly, and it's going to go on 250 different syndicates. I won't even say the name of the brokerage, but they put a whole their page-turning, luxury brochure of what they do, and they have 3 pages dedicated to all the syndicates that their house is being put out on. Like, you didn't even do anything. You just put it up on the MLS. But anyway, it's got to be distinctive, right? And so that's not super distinctive, but ads beyond the MLS, that's distinctive, right? That's something that others don't do. And I promise you, your agents will remember, or your clients will remember that, because they'll see it. You make sure they like you on your social media channels, right? And then you put those out there, and then they share them, and then all this stuff happens. My clients don't even talk about the listing on the MLS, and now they're not even talking about Zillow so much. It's kind of neat. They're like, oh yeah, I saw your ad. I saw it on Facebook. I saw it on Instagram, right? And they're sharing it with other people. They literally think that's why their house sold. And I don't know sometimes which way it came, but I do know that I get a ton of people that get a hold of me, and we get opportunities that end up double-siding a deal if you end up wanting to do that, because of the listing advertising. But it basically shares to the world what? I'm a master listing agent. That's where they're going to see it, right? We do those 6 ads. If you use the CRM, please understand that we've taken all of this that I've coached for so long and put it into a system where you literally can click a button. How many of you used the CRM advertising that we have, the Listing Blast? How long did it take you to do it? And this was the first time you ever did it.
Minutes, literally.
Yeah.
I just did it too, and you just click on it, and then you pay, and then
It's done.
you just wait.
It's done, yeah. If you do it manually, it's about 2 hours,
Yeah.
right? So that's what we wanted to do. Now you can still do it manually if you want. That's fine. You can use it. We built this not because I'm trying to sell. What's my mission? 2 to 3 listings every single month, right? If I'm going to do 2 to 3 listings every month and still have a life, I would rather take 3 minutes, because work smarter instead of harder, right? That's part of that goal. So that's why it's there. But if you're not doing ads beyond the MLS, you're basically missing out on your branding and your lead generation opportunity. Okay? And I don't have time to go through all the details of that, so I'm going to skip through it because we talked about it, but you got your grand open house. Before and after listing videos. Anybody do that yet? Okay, so how many of our clients watch HGTV? Yeah, they pretty much all do. What is HGTV really good at when it comes to showcasing real estate? They love the before and after, right? I want you to be your HGTV celebrity in your community, and that's going to be part of what I'm going to be talking about with the farming effort. Is don't do just listed, just sold postcards. You know, I see all those posts out there. You're holding the key cut out at the title company, standing there. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not saying you do. I'm not saying they're good or bad. I mean, we have a title company here, and they take lots of cool pictures and stuff like that. That's fine. But I'm telling you, if you want impact, if you want to show a difference in that, do a video. And it doesn't have to be professionally edited. You can get someone to do that if you want. Do before and afters. If you're going to go in and help your client improve their home, get it staged, the difference between those, remember those pictures you take when you walk around with your phone, and their pictures aren't great anyway, which is a good thing. I take pictures as I walk around the house. We talk about later through the listing report what they should do. And then we do these really great videos that I have my videographer do. So it's really already done. They go through, the videographer goes through and does the video for the inside of the house. You know what I'm talking about? Then guess what I do after I sell the house? I put them together, go back and forth between the two, and I narrate it. And you can even, with today's tech, you can even be in the video. And if you need help, this guy right here can help you to do that. And I can literally do a before and after. Here's what the house was before. Here's what it was after. This is how much it sold for. This is what we did. So I've done that. And you know how many people call me up because of that? Because they're seeing the transition from the house before and the house after, then how fast it sold. And they, especially when neighbors see that, it reinforces it. Do you want to see an example of what you can do? I'll show you one so you can kind of see what that looks like. I do it for all the properties that we list. I think I had it all ready to go. Yeah, this one right here is the Eagle Mountain. This is looking down from my back deck in the ranch. Okay, so we got to, there we go. To the front of this house. You may not realize this, but the mix of stucco, wood, and stone on these older homes can be easily transformed to what we call a contemporary mountain home. We added board and batten to the front of this house, complementing the original stone, stucco, and wood to give it a... Isn't that a different look of that house? Yeah. And so we got this house under contract. You've heard the story, I think, if you've been a part of it. Sold it for $829. No house in the whole neighborhood had sold for that amount of money. The difference that it was so big. We've gotten several deals from this. Matter of fact, I told you about the family that we're helping to buy the third investment property. It's the... Oh no, it was the other house that's across the street that we got because of this house. It just keeps growing. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like the spread of something good instead of the spread of something bad. It spreads the word of what you do. And so I create videos like this. And I talk about what I did to help get that house ready to sell. And then I have a testimonial of them talking about it. So I'll send it to you if you'd like to see it. But they're talking about how it's kind of neat to hear it, because almost I don't know what it is, and I'm not trying to be prejudicial, every single guy, whenever I talk to the couple, the guy always says, I did not want to stage. I didn't want to pay for it. That happened every single time. The woman, for whatever reason, and I know it sounds prejudicial to say it that way, but she's like, oh yeah, I thought it was a good idea from the beginning, But the husband's like, no, I did not want to pay for that. And they all say that. He says it too. But I'm so glad that I did after they see it. So I do before and after pictures, yeah.
The technology that you use, that you put yourself in front, is that just on Instagram technology or something, or like how do you do that?
Actually, right now, Canva even does it for you. You can take out backgrounds and pictures and video. It's crazy how they have AI. I didn't use Canva on this one because I'm more used to using other tech and stuff like that. I have a green screen in my house, but you don't have to do all that. Yeah, and again, if you have questions, this guy right here, Zach, he can tell you about what you can use and all sorts of neat things. But you saw me in front of that picture, when I was talking, and I can be in and out of the video. You should be in the video, or I walk through the property. Sometimes you don't have to be fancy about it. Literally get a selfie stick and walk around if that's what you need to do. That's why I've changed up this class a little bit. If you've been through this class before, is I actually would show you how to film, edit, and publish video, but it was almost like you had to do it this particular way. Right now, video is so accessible. You have it on your phone, you have editors that are out there and AI that can even edit things for you, even do video for you, that I really want to get into the content, what's important about what you do. If you have questions about how to do it, we've got videos that teach you how to do videos, and we've got people that can help you there, okay? But I want you to know that doing video and showcasing what you've done for your clients is very important. And we'll talk about that more as we go along. So let me go back here to this presentation. Here we go. So your listings is going to be the number one source for your next clients. Okay? Make sense? So what should be a pretty important goal? We'll talk about the actual goals, not the mission, but the actual goals next week. What should be a pretty important goal that you have? Getting listings. How do you advertise for listings? How do you get more listings? I've already taught you how to close the deal. The reason I didn't start with this class in the beginning is because I was afraid that I'd teach you how to go out and get more listings, and then you'd go sit down with them, and what would you do? A job interview with a resume to say, hey, I want to sell your house, and not really have anything distinctive to offer. And it's hard to close that. It really is. You have to bug people, you have to be on top of it, and you have to give out a whole bunch of crumble cookies. You have to impress people in ways that aren't impressive in terms of a distinctive offering when it comes to the listing services. Make sense? So I wanted to give you that first, but I'm telling you, number one lead source are your listings, okay? Number two, anybody have a guess of what number two is? You've probably been told it 1,000 times. Yeah, SOI is number two. What does SOI stand for? Sphere of influence. So what does that mean? Please bug your family and friends and neighbors and past clients as much as you possibly can. Ask for referrals. Tell them that you love them. Take them to movies and pumpkin, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's what you do. That's literally what we're being taught. If you go through other coaching programs, I won't name them, but you probably know what they are because you paid for them, that tell you how to build better relationships with the people that you know. And you just bug the heck out of them to get them to send you business. Does it work? It must, but do you get 2 to 3 consistent deals every single month? If you're not getting 2 to 3 consistent deals every month from your SOI, then what you're doing is not working, at least not to that end goal. So let's talk about that. Direct contacts, right? The people that you know, it needs to be consistent, meaningful engagement. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through this because we're getting to the farming part of this, but we have whole classes and support on this, but we've created a CRM that is so good at this piece of it, and it still requires your efforts to be unique in the offering of the messaging, but it's something that you shouldn't be spending a ton of time on because it's not working smart. It's basically trying to remember. How many of you try to remember? Did I call this person? Who do I need to call? Who do I need to talk to? What's their interest? Do I bug them or not bug them? And then we end up calling people all the time and bug them anyway, and we try to be nice about it. We don't even talk about real estate. Hey, John, it's been a long time. Yeah, I just calling you out of the blue for no really good reason, and I'm going to talk for no really good reason to let you know that, hopefully I don't want to say it, that I'm an agent, but yeah, I'm not going to say it. So I'm really going to just say that I like you and you're cool. And if there's anything I can ever do to help you, please let me know. You want me to mow your lawn? Sure, I'll come by and mow your lawn. I mean, we really get into these awkward conversations because we're being told that we need to talk to our people and we need to do it consistently, but we're not bringing any real value to it. And we're afraid to say what we really think. You know what I'm talking about, right? Right? And that's what SOI marketing is. It's bunk. It's awful. So direct or consistent, meaningful engagement. What is that consistent, meaningful engagement? Isn't that funny? You're all agents. You're afraid to say because you think I'm going to make fun of you, aren't you? Okay. But what is consistent, meaningful engagement? Yes.
I mean, bringing value type content to them.
What is it?
Video. I love your approach. I'm guessing you're going there. I'm not saying I do this, but I have tried in the past to do a similar thing, like home equity appointments. But
Okay.
I can't remember what I called them. But I called it like a home business review or something. Because I hate the approach that you were just explaining. But anyway, so I've tried to have meaningful, hey, what can you do with your house?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Have I been great at it? No. But
Okay. But isn't it interesting how this is our job and our business and we struggle? I heard video, but what video? We should talk to them and bring value, but what value, right? And so we get kind of caught up in in what we should do. So we basically make things up as we go along, and kind of try to run into people, and maybe we can get them together for an event or something like that, and that will remind them. Right? Maybe we send out a newsletter because a salesperson called us and said, I will send out a newsletter every single month to your, and you're going to get this many deals, because they do it that way, right? They say that that's what you're going to get from it. They write it, and a lot of times the content is very vague and very not meaningful, in my opinion, right? Maximize referrals and referral partners. Oh yeah, I won't say the name of the coach, but who's the coach that teaches? When you call your people, you always, before you hang up, ask for 5 referrals. Could you imagine every time you talk to someone, especially friends or family, okay, now that I've wasted your time not really having a really good thing to talk about, do you mind if you give me 5 of your friends' information so I can do the same to them? Right? I know it sounds hilarious, but it's funny how we have coaching programs that we pay good money for that tell us to do that. Some of them have been through that, right?
Last time they picked up your call.
Exactly. And I will tell you this, everyone has a mobile phone right now. You have it with you how often? If you don't answer your phone, what's the reason?
You know who's calling.
You don't want to talk to whoever's calling, right? So guess what happens when people don't answer their phone? Or if the thing is that they really do want to talk to you, but they are really busy, what do they do? Because our phones have a 1-button little quick thing. Can I call you back? How many of you get that message, right, when you're trying to call them through text? Or my kids just always do that because they text and don't want to talk on the phone. But I guess what I'm saying is if you're not getting people answering the phone, it's because they don't want to talk to you. It's not because, they're busy. So don't worry so much about it. I get agents all the time that ask, when should I call? What time should I call? No one's answering my call, and I don't want to just say it to them. And it's just, because they don't want to talk to you, right? So how do you get them to want to talk to you? You have to make it about them and not about you. Well, then they say, okay, let's do the Ford method of communication, and let's talk about your vacation, and let's talk about your kids, and let's talk about things that are, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if all of your conversations are like that, how are you going to get business out of that? You're just hoping that they're remembering, oh yeah, this guy's an agent or this gal's an agent. What they're really calling about is getting my business, but they don't want to say it. Have you ever felt like that before? I promise if you thought that, guess what they're thinking? Exact same thing, right? So how do we do that? So as far as, and this is something that you can, if you go into the school, thing, we have whole modules on this. We have mastermind every Thursday. We talk about this. As a matter of fact, if you join us tomorrow for tomorrow's mastermind, I walk you through how to do the setup in your database for this to work. But basically, everybody in your database is basically broken up into 2 groups, homeowners and renters. Would everyone agree to that when it comes to real estate? They're a homeowner or they're a renter. Every single homeowner in your database should be getting 3 things from you every single month that's meaningful. And it's not a newsletter, and it's not something that someone else just put together for you in the sense that it's not specific to them and in your relationship. Now, of course, it can be done for you in the sense of the home report. So the number one thing that they get is a home report. And I don't just send it to them, I call them up. And we have scripts about this as well if you want. But I say, hey, John, this is Mike. I just invested in this really great tool that what it does is it tells you what your house is worth, or all your properties, what they're worth, how much equity you have in them. It's basically a bank statement for your home. And isn't it crazy that, or interesting that we get 401k statements, we get bank statements that tell us, what we have, what our net worth is. But the thing that, if you're like me, where most of my money actually is, right, is in my properties. So I'm going to send you that statement every single month. By the way, I pulled it up here. You've got this much equity. Anyway, there's a whole, how we talk about it, right? And you alluded to that, but I feel very comfortable because I've done it so much talking to people about their home equity. Once you get more comfortable with it, you'll get better at it and you'll convert more. So don't give up if you have a couple of awkward conversations. Talk to people that really like you first, that you can bumble around a little bit the conversation and then start talking to people that maybe you need to be a little bit more intentional, well, a little bit better at the communication. But basically what I tell people is, I'm going to send you that report on your home. You're going to get it every single month. It's going to tell you what your house is worth and how much equity you have in it. It's not a marketing, sales tool, so to speak. It's basically that statement. I give it to all my friends and family, and I want to give it to you as well. But they should be getting that. Some of them are now, because I've been teaching this for a while. They get HomeBot. You've heard of HomeBot before. We actually integrated into our CRM so that you don't have to use a separate system. That's what we were doing before, is you had to go out to HomeBot, put all your people in there, go and look what's going on, and then kind of translate it over to your CRM. Now you don't have to do any of that. It's all in one place. And then you can integrate it with the CMA builder that we have. And anyway, I'd love to tell you about all the really cool stuff, but it's all right there. But if they're not getting that statement every single month, then how are you helping them understand with your professional expertise what their house is worth and how much equity they have? Why is that important in terms of you being a real estate and them being your client? Precisely that. You're the real estate professional and they're your client, and it's about their home, right? So they should be getting that. What's the other thing I send them? I send them a monthly market report. It just lets them know the market overall, just like when you pull up E-Trade or Charles Schwab or wherever they go, it kind of lets you know where the markets, indexes are, like the S&P 500 and Dow Jones. It just kind of gives them a good feel, but it's for their home and it's for their location, their city, their area. They get that every month. The third thing they get, I forgot to send mine out this month, so I got to send it out. I want you to send out, this is my recommendation, you should be sending out an email to every single one of your homeowners every single month. But it's you write the email. What's it about? If it's just about niceties, then it's not going to really push the lever. It's not going to get them to get excited to receive it every month. They may even opt out. Mine don't opt out. You know why? Because what I do is I first start with something that's interesting and fun and unique. So it's not, that's why we didn't want to create this for you. You write it. Like, for example, when the fall came, we were talking about, my wife and I went driving up into the mountains and watched to see all the fall leaf colors and how beautiful it was and stuff like that. I even put a picture in there. She said, oh, the fall is so beautiful. We drove up American Fork Canyon, and I don't know if you've been up there yet, because all of my people that I'm talking to in my SOI are in this area, right? For the most part. And that's who's getting that email from me, and I put in a picture of that, let them know it's so beautiful. Have you been up there? I want to, explain to them, something that's really kind of, it's personal, but it's also kind of a cool thing to receive. It feels like I'm not just blowing smoke and sales messaging. Then after that, I said, oh, by the way, fall's here. So I tie it in. So fall's here. Here are the 2 things you need to do to keep your house up. I give them every single month and it's only 2 things, and we put it all together for you, by the way. There's 2 things that they need to do, because I want to help them keep their house value up and keep their house working well. Does that sound related to what we do and how important that is? And then I give them vendors that can help them do that. Does everyone know what I'm talking about? Have you seen this before? It's the home maintenance report. So if you have the CRM, we'll talk a little bit about your website, but here's the home maintenance plan. So we have a landing page for it. You need to have, if you're going to convert, you need to have landing pages. Here's fall. So in September, when I sent that out, or it was October, I think it was September, I remember, schedule your furnace tune-up and clean your fireplace and chimney, right? Here are the 2 things. Every month there's 2 things we recommend. I give them DIY steps, what they do to do those 2 things. Pretty simple, basic stuff. And then we give them videos on how to do it. You can replace these videos, by the way, and you should, with your strategic or your partners, right, that do these things. Like, I have an HVAC guy that does all the HVACs. Even before I sell a house, I have him come in and check it, sign it. Super important to have them do that. So these are videos that actually help them know what is needed and how to do it if they want. And then if they don't want to do it themselves, I actually send them an email. Call Michael. What's Michael's last name again? I forgot his last name. No, not me, Anderson. No, his name is Michael. But anyway, he's my HVAC guy, and he's awesome. He actually goes to all of my clients, gives them a discount. We talk about what you need to do and everything, put it in video. It's a really cool video to send out, as well as this information about what they should do to upkeep their house. Does that sound like a meaningful message to go out once a month? Yeah, it's a really good message. It reminds them of the 2 things they need to do, whether it's cleaning their gutters or whatever it is, and I just give them 2 things so it's not overwhelming. So those are the 3 things that every single one of my homeowners get every single month. Now my first-time buyers, or my renters I should say, because we have 2, they get the pathway to qualification campaign. It's called a SMART plan in our database. It basically drips them for a full year. And guess what it tells them? We have a program to help buyers buy their first place. It tells you exactly where you are and where you need to be in order to be able to buy it. It takes the pressure off of what? What's the question we normally ask our potential clients or leads?
Have you met with a lender?
Yeah, have you met with a lender? Are you ready to buy now? You know, can I show you homes? Are you qualified? You know, we're talking transaction all the time. When you talk transaction to people and they don't want to transact right now, what does that mean to them? It just annoys them, right? So it's not about that. How many of our renters would like to buy at some point? Most of them would. So we have a program and we give it a name. It's called the Pathway to Qualification. What this program does, it tells you where you are right now and where you need to be when you're ready to buy. When's the best time for most renters to buy? Anyone know? We found out because we did the research.
1 year.
Huh?
1 year.
It's not 1 year. It's actually something else. When their lease is up.
Just before the lease is up.
When their lease is up. That's the best, because we asked them that question. When your lease is up, would you like to sign a purchase contract instead of a lease agreement? And you know what they all think about is, oh yeah, I've got to re-sign that lease. What happens? What's the memory of signing a lease? I've got a landlord who doesn't take care of my home, because they would tell us this when we surveyed them. What else? The rent might go up. I really don't like my place or my roommates anyway. They're thinking about all those things. They don't have their own place. So when we put it in that context, it takes away all the stressors. Are you ready to buy? And oh, my credit, my down payment, all those things that scare them about buying. And it puts them into the other side where they really feel about, oh, I really want to buy. Yes, by the time my lease is up. Because why? Because I don't have to re-sign that lease agreement. I'm not throwing away money. I have better roommates. I have my own place. I can paint my wall and I don't get yelled at or whatever that is, right? So we put it into that context and we just say through these drip campaigns, would you like to know where you're at right now and where you need to be? There's no, whenever it's convenient for you or by the time your lease is up, and we keep saying that, by the time your lease is up. And when we get calls on it, you know what they always say? First thing, hey, my lease is up in October or whenever that is, and I'd like to buy. We helped a buyer, it was Michael actually, the HVAC guy, who actually is now, they bought a place, him and his wife bought a place because of the Pathway to Qualification. And then now her sister called and wants to buy her first place. And guess what she asked for? The Pathway to Qualification program. Her credit wasn't quite ready yet. She had already found a house she liked, but she's like, I don't think I can buy it. And we wanted me to look at it online. Like, great, let's get you and, let's have our little meeting, find out where you're at. Her credit score is 520 something. Is she ready to buy yet? Not quite, but it's not too bad. And she doesn't know, she's young enough, it's like, well, she hasn't borrowed money. She doesn't have bad credit, she just doesn't have credit. So we put her in a position so that she can start building credit. You know how easy it is to help people build up credit that don't have bad credit? It's actually not hard to do. There's a really good book out there called The 10 Ways to Improve Your Credit or Build Your Credit. I can't remember. I'll bring it next time. But I use a lot of snippets from that, and I use that in that drip campaign when people then need to learn how to build their credit. So I have other campaigns that are about building credit or repairing credit or about down payment options. Many first-time buyers have what, as far as what kind of misunderstanding when it comes to down payment? 20%, sometimes 30%, believe it or not. We met someone that had literally saved up $60,000 and was still planning to save up. They've been saving for 5 years. They got married, been renting for 5 years, and they had $60,000, and it was sitting in their checking account. Because they didn't know what happens when you put money in your checking account? How much interest does your checking account earn? How much is inflation? So guess what they're doing? They're losing money every single month. They just did not know that, right? And so I'm now a consultant. I'm helping them, understand what it means to get ready to buy your first place and what it's going to mean in terms of equity and what it means in terms of the financial implications of what decisions you're making. And honestly, if they would have bought 5 years ago instead of trying to save 65,000, they would have probably earned that much in equity, but they had no idea. Do you understand how much opportunity there is out there to help people understand why they should be buying, leveraging equity or getting into equity and things like that? And who's out there teaching them that? Who's telling them about it? You know what their Gen X parents are telling them?
Wait for interest to come down.
And what else? Don't buy a house. Don't even buy it. Market's going to crash anyway. Have you seen what's going on in the economy? It's serious. The whole thing is going to crash, and the whole world's going to burn down. And us Gen Xers are really pessimistic because what happened to the Gen Xers in 2008? Yeah, how many still linger with that, feeling or fear of what's going to happen? And so I hope you get excited about your role as a consultant, not about a transaction person or coordinator, because that's where the money comes in, sure. And that's where you want to kind of, churn your business as quickly as possible through a transaction. But if you're churning your business through transaction, right? Are you offering a great deal of value? No, you're just offering transactional services. And what's the best way to compete with transactional services? Price and availability, not quality of service. And yet we're not even aligned with our own goals, our own mission statement. I want quality of service to be what I offer. But you're not really offering any quality of service. You're just doing transactions. That's your quality of service. You feel like your quality of service is my phone's always here and you can call me anytime and I jump when you say jump. That's not quality of service. What is that? Craziness, but it's also availability. It's convenience, right? That's what you're selling is convenience. If you want to sell convenience, do it, but just own it. That's not quality of service. I'm sorry. I can beat you out any day of the week because you'll just jump when they say jump, because I'll come in and say, I'm going to show you how to make more money for your house, or I'm going to show you how to leverage your money to get more money to build wealth, right? That's a different message, completely different message. Okay, so your SOI. We'll go through this a little bit next week when we talk about how to do your power hour, but that's number 2. Now let's get to what we were really here to talk about today, is getting leads through your farm and your brand. Okay, that's what today is mostly about, the rest of the time that we have. So you're going to get as many leads as you can through your listings, but you got to get listings. You're going to get as many leads as you can through your friends and family and past clients. Great. But is that going to give you 2 to 3 consistent deals every single month? Maybe not. It could. You've been doing this for 20, 25 years. You could get just SOI business and referrals. Some of you may be in that position right now, but most are not. And so we need to get to that point. So now we got to figure out how to distinguish ourselves among all the agents that are out there. How many agents are in the state of Utah?
17,000.
Is it 17,000?
16 or 17.
Okay, yeah. I had heard that it was closer to 20 something, but I think it's dropped, so yeah.
I think this last downturn is 10,000.
Okay, yeah, that's still a lot. Like how much inventory do we have? As many agents? I don't know. Is it 1-to-1? Yeah, yeah.
Do you know how we compare to other states, like agents per capita or something?
I don't off the top of my head, but I'm sure you could look it up or ask ChatGPT and they'll tell you.
Average or higher or lower?
I don't know. I would say that there's a lot of agents throughout this country and any place, and there's a lot of competition for the amount of inventory that's out there. I think the 80-20 rule fits almost any industry with salespeople, and it fits real estate agents. It might be 90-10, I don't know. And you know what that rule is? That 20% of the agents do 80% of the production, right? The volume out there. But the 80% out there, and maybe you fall within that, isn't that you're not willing or trying to get the kind of business that the 20% get. It's just that you want to work smarter. You want to have, a life beyond that. And many of those that are the most successful in our industry, and I've worked with many of them too, they've turned it into a business, but it's a different kind of business. I mean, the 2 biggest groups here in the state, in the Wasatch Front, spend like 80 to 100,000 a month in leads, a month. And they have inside sales kind of efforts. Now they're looking into AI assistants and virtual assistants to be a part of that. What's their whole model based on? Volume and transactions. They're the Walmarts. In my opinion, we pretend that, and we drive around and Teslas and really wear really nice clothes and act like we own the world sometimes. Sorry, I know some of these kids that are 20 something and don't have any other experience, but they're paying 60% splits and they're doing 8 or 9, 10 deals a month, but they're making a couple thousand per deal instead of what we could make with 2 or 3 deals. But what's their whole effort based on? I'm available 24/7. I will run when you say, and jump when you say jump. I will do whatever I need to do to get the transaction done. They're very aggressive because they get taught this on their sales techniques. Like I've heard them before, I answer the phone within 7 seconds. I don't take no for an answer. Have you heard of those kind of things before? And it's very aggressive. That's a model. There's nothing wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It's not what I want to do, right? But that's what some of those agents are doing to get that. So to me, 2 to 3 deals a month feels very comfortable. But I have to do it in a way that distinguishes myself from those other offerings. Otherwise, why wouldn't they choose them, right? If I'm not going to be available 24/7 and jump when you say jump, and they want convenience, right? I'm not going to be able to compete against that. But I'm all right with that. You can be too if you still get 2 to 3 deals a month, okay? So I want to explain to you what it means to generate those extra couple of deals every single month through your farm. Now, every single time you get a new person into your SOI, right? I guess I should say a new client becomes part of your SOI. So do you see how they kind of move from one layer to the next? If I can get someone from my farm into my SOI, and then guess what I want to do with my SOI? I want to turn them into what we call raving fans. Have you ever heard that before? So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get people from my farm, and there's 2 farms that you need to have, which I'm going to explain to you, into my SOI. Why SOI? What does SOI stand for again? What's the key word in those 3 words? Influence. What does influence mean? If you were to define influence, how do you influence another person effectively? Wait, someone said it? What? Inspire, yeah. Maybe. Isn't that interesting? Sphere of influence. How do you think about it. How do you effectively influence another person? Lead? Trust. Those are all good. Service. Did you know that? The best way to effectively influence another person is through service. Think about it. If you think about people that are important to you and why they're important to you, do they think about themselves before they think about you, or vice versa? Do you know what I mean by service? Service is when you do something for someone else without expecting something in return immediately or whatever. It happens a lot of times, but it's not a quid pro quo effort, right? Don't you, like, if you think about that, I have people in my SOI, they're in my SOI or I'm in theirs, not because I'm a good salesperson. I mean, it could be because I helped them get what they wanted, but that's about them, not about me when it came to selling and buying property. But if I'm just pitching and selling to them, am I going to be in their SOI? Probably not. I might even be in their don't call me list, right? But if I serve them, and I truly serve them with the intention of trying to do good, then do you notice that those relationships are the ones that bring the most bounty to us and our own? It's almost like, it sounds weird, it feels like I'm going to be really selfish to be unselfish in a sense. Like, I recognize that I get a lot of benefit from being kind and serving other people because of what they reciprocate, right? Like with my relationship with my wife, right? I mean, there's a lot of work involved if you're married, and you know what it's like to be married and having to, do you give a lot in your marriage, right? And you expect them to give, and you give to each other, but you don't want it to happen just for them to get what they want. If you feel like that's all it's about, then it's hard to have a strong relationship that way. Does that make sense? Yeah, I mean, you've heard my story before if you've been to my classes, but I love to illustrate this with a story. When my wife and I don't know if Zach's ever heard this story, so he's going to laugh at me a little bit about this because this is when he was a kid. So we met at BYU in the early 90s and got married and moved to Houston, Texas. That's where I got my master's degree out there and worked out there. And we'd been married about 5 years, and we lived in a nice house. We had the second home. This is when we moved to Sugar Land. Remember that? So we had a nice house. So I had 3 kids by then, and Aubrey was just a baby, right? And so Zach was my second, and then Jordan was the oldest. And this was before Aubrey was born, though. And there's a time that we were struggling, and I didn't know it because I was the guy, I guess, if that's how it happens. My wife gives me a book to read, and this is how I saw my life. I mean, I had a really good job. I was getting my master's degree, so I was in school and I was working full time. We had a brand new baby and we had a toddler, right? And my wife stayed at home with the kids. And I would come home, and this is SEC country, and I still love football and love sports and stuff like that. I get home, I'm tired, it's a long day, I got to go to school or I got to study. So dinner's ready, great, turn on the TV, watch a game while I'm eating. Anybody have a husband like that? My wife, of course, been home all day with 2 young kids, and so she gives me a book to read, right? It's called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Anybody ever heard that book before? Yeah, what is that book about? Anybody remember what that book's about? Have you read the book? Were you given the book like me? Or? You were? Okay, so he knows, yeah. So what is that?
About it, yeah.
What was that?
A whole class about it.
You had a whole class about it. Went counseling? So basically what my wife was saying is like, hey, you might think you're the bomb, but sometimes you're not quite measuring up, right? Different love languages. You probably heard the 7 languages of love, stuff like that. But basically what she was trying to tell me is, the status quo was I was all right. I mean, I had a good job and we went on nice vacations and I loved playing with the kids when they were young. It was so fun. I thought it was so much fun. But I also, thought a lot about what I wanted, right? That we're by nature pretty selfish people, if you notice that. We know what we want, but we don't always know what other people want, even the people that we love the most. So I get the book from her. She's trying to teach me what it means to give her what she needed beyond just, if I did anything bad, she'd just kick me out of the house. So, Mom, she wouldn't put up with anything like that. So, I'm faithful and, we're making good money. I mow the lawn on the weekends. I'm doing all the things. And in my mind, I'm thinking, what? I'm doing great. Things are great. What's wrong with you? What else do you want type of thing, right? But there are little things that make a difference. So service happens above expectations. Everybody has an expectation, whether it's in business relationships or personal relationships. We expect people to be good people and honest. And, we say all those things that we think are important to people, but that's just a level of expectation. What do we want on top of that? So my wife taught me things like, when you come home from work, do not turn on the TV, do not have your phone out or have your computer out. Sit down at the table. I made dinner, so eat dinner together. Let's have a conversation because I've been with a toddler and a baby all day long, and let's talk about what's going on. Stop ignoring me, and and it's like, yeah, that makes sense, but I didn't recognize it, right? And then after dinner's over, who's in charge of the dishes? Yeah, but not just me. And I don't know if you remember this, but I know Jordan does, because it was me being the example to the kids. We were in charge of dishes, right? So I would take the dishes, with Jordan, because Zach was too young at the time, to, the sink. And then we had a Bosch dishwasher that had a disposal in it. That was a pretty great, so what does that mean? You just little rinse, put the dishes in. According to my wife, you wash the dishes in the sink first. Soap, water, everything. She doesn't do it as much now, but we wash the dishes and then we put them in the dishwasher. And I was like, well, they should call it dish sanitizer because I'm washing them, right? But it didn't matter what I thought. What mattered is that's what she wanted, right? Service happens at what level? Beyond the expectation. So we wash the dishes and then put them in the dishwasher, right? And then I even found out that I would bring home chocolates and flowers, to my wife when, every now and then. Guess who I was bringing them home for, I found out? Me. The women know that. They said we're just like that. As far as you guys, did you know that? Yeah, you did. You did? I did not know that. When I'd been married for 5 years, I didn't know. I was bringing them home to get brownie points, right? Or, something like that. But what I found out is she didn't even like cut flowers. She came from a poor upbringing, right? And so did I too. But she felt bad for flowers that died in 3 days and all the wasted money because we were really tight with our money. She would rather have a potted plant than, cut flowers. I didn't even know. If you asked me, what does your wife like? What should I get her for Christmas? I was like, I don't know. Zach's laughing over there. It's kind of weird telling this story with my son right here. I couldn't even tell you. I would bring home chocolates, right? When I brought home chocolates, they were like the Snicker type chocolates. To me, if they didn't have nougat and caramel and nuts, I mean, then why would you eat it, right? Guess what my wife likes? She likes dark chocolate, like the dark, dark brick stuff. Have you ever had that stuff before? How many of you like dark chocolate? Yeah, bitter, sweet, dark chocolate. It's not even a treat. It's like, what are you supposed to do with this thing? We even, in Provo, they have a place where you can do a chocolate tasting. Have you seen that up there in Provo? So we did it. We paid for that. You have a date night, and they give us little bricks of chocolate. You're supposed to rub them in your finger, right? Which seems like you play with your food first. You're not supposed to do that, right? But you rub, and then you put it in your mouth, and you rub it on the top of with your tongue on the top of the roof of your mouth. And then he's like, can you taste the hint of mesquite or to raspberry or whatever it is that the flavor was? And the whole time I'm thinking, I just want to chew the thing and swallow it, you know? But that's what my wife, she likes that. That was the first time I learned, after we'd been married for years, that she liked dark, dark chocolate. I was doing it for myself. But I guess what I'm trying to illustrate is that even with the people that we care about the most, we just inherently think about what we want. And we feel like what we're doing for other people is service when we're really not doing anything more than what they expect. It's a level of expectation. If you want quality of service to be what you're selling out there, you have to take it up to that level of service. And service is about understanding what they want, what's important mostly to them. And I'm telling you, the transaction is what they expect. What they want is to understand how to make it happen smoothly. And even though we say that we do that, how do we actually do it? What's our SOPs? What's our intentional strategic offering of services that lead to a better outcome, and an outcome that goes beyond just the closing, pre and post? How long do people think about buying a house? A year. How long of that year were you involved? Yeah, weeks sometimes, right? And so at that point, what are you to them? Transaction person, right? So you're not the advocate, the supporter, the quality of service that's there. So own that. So what we found out when we did the research, we actually did a bunch of research to find out what people want, because we didn't even know. We actually found out what they want most when it comes to a real estate agent, and what they want most when it comes to buying a property. And what's funny is I used to travel all around, and some of you have been to my class already. I'd ask that. Nobody, the agents that are doing this for a living, could not figure it out, didn't know what it was. Just like I didn't know with my wife what was most important to her. So let me ask you that question. If it comes to a real estate agent, think about all the things that are important of what you have to offer, and you were to ask someone, what's most important to you about a real estate agent? What do you think they would say? Trust. What? Loyalty. Communication. Anything else? Knowledge. What? Okay, money in the pocket. Responsive. Guess what all those things are? Expectations. Right? You think about it. Well, yeah, if you're not trustworthy, if you're not responsive, if you don't know what the heck you're doing, I'm not going to use you anyway. But what makes you any different, right? What difference does that really make? What stands you out when it comes to that? What stands out about that? So what we found out when we asked them about what's really important to them, if they're going to select an agent, and they might not know you, so it doesn't have to be something personal, what do you think was important to them? If you think about it from a buyer or a seller trying to buy or sell property, what would you think is important to you when you select the right agent?
Understanding.
Of what? It's the community. Did you know that? Community expertise was number one on the list. Trust and all those other things are there, but they felt like if that agent is an expert in that community, they're going to help me buy and sell in that community better than the other agents that aren't. Doesn't that make sense? How many of you are community experts? You think you are, but I bet you. How many of you are experts for the Wasatch Front and sometimes St. George and a little time in Park City? Right? And that's what we do. We don't have that kind of expertise. We're not branded for it. We're not marketing it, nothing. We're like, I'll help you. I'll help you. I'll help you. I don't care where you live or want to live as long as it's not too far away, you know. But if it's within a few hours, probably I'll take it, right? And so we do that, but that doesn't set us apart in any sort of way, except for what? Oh yeah, you'll do the transaction, yes.
I don't mean to interrupt the train of thought.
No, you're good.
But, I mean, just this week I had someone approach me about a property up in Bear Lake area.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've been to Bear Lake. I've swam in it. I've skied there.
You know there's a lake there, yeah?
Yeah. But I'm still probably going to try to get the deal.
Yeah, because you need it.
Because I need it.
You need it, yeah.
So it is challenging.
Yeah.
But I'd much rather like have this small geographic location, 100%.
Yeah, if you could get 2 to 3 deals a month and it's within within a geographic location and maybe a niche buyer type that could be a little bit bigger, wouldn't that be a lot more appealing?
Oh yeah.
And then what happens when you have someone that wants to buy in Bear Lake? What can you do? I can refer it out. Can you still make money from referrals?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's still a part of a business model. But I would say if you really want to build a business, remember what I'm trying to do in terms of my mission statement. There's also, your values and things like that. Within that, I want to be able to do it in a way that I can have a life, right? That I'm not putting hundreds of thousands of miles on my car and spending too much time away from family and all that kind of stuff. So I want to be in a very specific area. If your mission or your goals aren't aligned with the people that you're serving, then obviously that's a misalignment that's not going to work for you. You're not going to be able to make money from it. But if we know that they want a community expert and then you become a community expert, you both benefit from that. And so that's what I want to teach you to do, and that's what we're going to figure out today. So the first step in this effort, you need to pick your geographic farm and your niche farm. Let me explain those two. Geographic farm is a geographic area where you're going to dominate. And I promise you, please believe me, if you do this right, it'll take a little bit of time. But if you do this right, you can literally get all of your business within a 25-mile radius. Wouldn't that be nice? How many of you like that? And you can. Because when we talk to our clients out there, talk to buyers and sellers, they said that community expertise was beyond the expectations. They want, of course, you got to be honest, you got to be available, you got to be a good communicator. But if you're the expert for this area, I'm going to use you. But if no one says they're the expert of the area, then I just use whoever I can. How many of you communicate that effectively, that I'm the expert for this area? So I'm going to show you how you can do that and then dominate your area. And I've got agents that are doing it, and it works brilliantly for them. Okay? Where's the best area to create your geographic farm, do you think? Where you live, because you're more invested in it, right? If you live in a place that you don't love, what should you do? Move. Seriously. I mean, you're a real estate agent, aren't you? Move. Yes.
I will say, like with cabins, you know that I am up in Schofield a lot, and I get a lot of business up there because I have a cabin up
Yeah.
there, and I love it.
Yeah, but that's your second home. So I can see that. I could, in this case, what Cassidy's saying, because I know your situation, she basically has 2 homes. She has her cabin in Schofield, and then you live in Springville, is it? Or Salem, yeah, which is not that far.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying that people call me because I am an expert up in that area.
Oh, yeah.
I'm known, and I love it up there.
Yeah.
And so I sell what the things are. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't know what they're meant.
And you get more business out of that, yeah. And there may not be enough business just in Schofield to do the 2 to 3 deals a month, so you might have to broaden that out a little bit. But that's a key. So when you pick your farm, it has to be large enough that even though you're going to get more market share, which you will, you need to be able to get 2 to 3 deals every single month, because that's your mission. Remember, that's your goal, is to get the 2 to 3 deals a month. So where's the best place? Where you live, right? You're going to be more invested, because I'm going to talk about what that means. So you're going to have that geographic farm. The geographic farm can usually, I like to think in the suburbs of Utah. If you think of a high school and then all the junior highs and elementaries that kind of feed up to that, that's a good farm area. Usually there's enough homes, right, with all the kids we have out here and stuff like that, that you can, that's not too big of an area, but it's also not too small. But sometimes it can cross over. Like right now, as I've been doing this more intentionally for my own business, I'm in Eagle Mountain, but I also have Saratoga Springs, but I got a lot of people that are looking to buy. I really don't want to go further than Provo on the south side, and I don't want to go past the point of the mountain. I really like that kind of area. So that it's kind of an extended farm. I actually changed that from what you probably heard me talk about before, when there was so much inventory or there wasn't a ton more inventory, I guess, but there was at least a lot more transactions going on in a smaller geographic area. Now it's a little bit more difficult. So I kind of constitute my farm to that whole area. Does that make sense? Okay. So you need to get a geographic farm kind of in the area that you live, but it can be spread out as long as you know what I'm going to explain to you or teach you how to keep the kind of momentum going to show that expertise. Make sense? Okay. The next is the niche farm. So do you know what niche means? You've heard that. What do you think it means in terms of real estate?
Interest.
Okay. Interest.
First-time buyer, move up.
Buyer type. It's buyer type. How many of you help any buyer no matter what? I don't care if you're a veteran or a first-time buyer, a luxury buyer, or whatever it is. But did you know that if you pick one of them and you go really deep, just like think about going deep instead of broad. We talk about that in the sales effort all the time. Verticals, you've probably heard of that before. If you go really, really deep in a particular vertical, instead of going really, really broad, like across multiple industries, when it comes to sales and stuff like that, when you talk about buyer types, you will actually get more business because of that. Be the first-time buyer expert if you're younger. That's a great place to be. Really key in on that. Do pathway to qualifications like crazy. Get whole apartment complexes. Actually, you should go talk to property managers, because property managers usually don't do production real estate as well as property management. Sometimes they can't, in some states, but you talk to them, referral fees that you can give them, and you're going to turn all of their renters into buyers. They're fine with that having that turnover. There's so many ways you can do it. When you start going deep, you start getting more ideas, more opportunities come up. Does that make sense? I want you to pick a buyer type. Go luxury if you are living in an area that has a lot of luxury. If your area is Park City, your area is Highland, you live in an area and you want to deal with luxury, you can go into luxury and dominate it and make really good. You only have to do one deal a month sometimes in high luxury, but you can really get good at that. Does that make sense? So that's another assignment that I want you to have for next week. I want you to pick your geographic farm, right? The area that you want to dominate in. And I'll explain kind of as I go along, so you don't have to write it down right now what that is, because I'll explain how you're going to identify that. And your buyer type. Now, does that mean you can't help people outside of that area? No. Does that mean you can't help buyers that aren't part of that? No. Does it mean that they're going to think that's all you do? No. But when you start going deep and your marketing and your sales strategy, right? Your marketing and sales strategy, get that? Not your work area, is going deep in that one vertical, you will actually get more business and be referred more because of it. Why do you think that is? Because you're the expert, right? If you're the expert, then they're going to talk about you as an expert. How many of you want people to tell their friends that you're a realtor? What the heck does that mean? They can't even say it, realtor or something like that, right? What does that mean? Oh yeah, that's the person that took 120 hours and makes a ton of money but didn't get an education or whatever. There's not even a lot of great connotations to it, unfortunately, right? Because their uncle and their brother and their sister-in-law are all agents, and I don't even like two of them. I'm not saying that's the case, but do you know what I'm talking about? Don't be a realtor or realtor anymore. Be an expert when it comes to these areas that has to do with real estate. Make sense? I work with investors a lot. That's kind of my niche, is investors. I love that because I invest. It's something that means a lot to me. So I pick something that means a lot to you. Now, do I work with others that aren't investors? Yeah. But you know what I usually do, because it just comes naturally? When I have clients that aren't investors, I turn them into investors. Do you know almost all of my clients that aren't investors become investors because I've spent so much time and effort thinking about it and helping others to do it. It almost just comes out when I talk to them. Yeah, let me help you invest. Oh, you've got $500,000 in equity in your house. How much is that earning you right now? It just comes out. I say it. How much is your $500,000 earning you right now in that equity that you have in your home? 0. What are you doing with it? Like this last couple that I talked to, they can't buy houses fast enough right now because he has all this money sitting there that's not really earning him much. I teach people how to turn their checking and savings account, get rid of that, use a line of credit, and run their whole home finances like a business does. I teach them what that means. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? I'll teach you. There's even a video that I have out there that walks you through it. You should not have a checking and savings account and just dump money into those checking and savings accounts. Did you know that? Worst thing you can possibly do for your finances. And 99% of Americans do it. The banks want you to do it because what do they do with your money? They invest it. Yes, please give me your money. For your checking account, I'll just charge you a little bit. For your savings account, I'll give you maybe 1/4%. And then I'm going to take all that and I'm going to put it in all these other investments out there. But it's FDIC insured. You don't have to worry about it. And you can come and get your money anytime you want. And I make you feel safe, you know, all that kind of stuff. Sorry, I don't want to get into that stuff. But I will tell you that when you start thinking about your money in terms of what you can do to leverage that, that's what every business does. Do you know how Walmart makes all their money? How does Walmart make most of their money? Selling Pampers and M&Ms? No. Their margins are like this. Guess how they make money? Well, from their money. Real estate's a big part of that. Yeah, well, they have basically anything they want. So
invest net 30, all of everything they sell, they bring in, and then they invest it for 30 days before
they keep all the money from all the sales of all their vendors that basically they pay them to go put their, they literally, a vendor, if I'm Pampers, I have to pay Walmart to put my Pampers in their place. And then they sell a box of Pampers at a 25% profit margin. Whereas Kmart's trying to do it at a $5 profit margin. It used to be that way, and they almost put them out of business because of it. Because their margins can be this slim. Because they're not trying to make money off of the margin of those Pampers. Guess what they're trying to make the money off of? The 30-day net, right? If they can collect billions of dollars a month, and they turn that billions of dollars into a net 30 investment, that they invest for, you know what they can make off a $1 billion investment for a full month? And then they finally pay the vendor. And then you know what the vendor also has to pay for? Positioning of that. If they want their product in a certain shelf space, they have to pay extra for that. That's what they mastered. But what's the alignment that they gave the customer? What's the customer want? Lowest price. Well, if their margin's 25% or 25 cents instead of $5, what can they do? They undercut all the other competition out there. It was brilliant. They basically invented RFID, kind of you know what that means, the radio frequency ID. They made it so that they know where every product is and where it's at, and then they basically set it up in a way that the vendor brings it in, pays for the shelving of it, and then it goes to the checkout, then they pay for it, and then it sits there for 30 days, and then they pay the vendor for their stuff. Isn't that cool? I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you understand how to leverage your money to make money, and I'd love to show you this. Maybe I'll do another class if you want to come, and I'll just show you this part of it. It's so cool to be able to take your money that you didn't even... How many of you have more than $100,000 in equity in your house right now? 200? 300? 400? 500? I've met people that have over $900,000 in equity in their house. 900 grand right now. They've been sitting on their equity for even more than they normally do. Why? Because interest rates are up and they don't want to move out. I have a 3.5% interest rate and I only owe $150,000 and I pay $1,500 a month. If I try to buy the equivalent house, it's going to cost me $5,000 a month. I'm not going to do it. But what are you doing with that equity? Well, I'm not going to sell my house. I can show you how you can do it. And then I show them how to do it and I walk them through and I explain the whole thing, and they're like, they can't buy homes fast enough to invest in. So anyway, doesn't that sound fun? To me, it's fun. But that's my expertise. That's what I do, as I help people with that part of it. What's your expertise? How much do you want to pay for that house? Okay, I'll write it in this, PDF form that anybody can do with 120 hours. And you don't even really need to have a license to do it, but it makes me sound more important because I'm your realtor, right? And then that's what we do. We sell what? Transactions. We're not lawyers, so I can't explain to you what that means or what it really means. I have to be really careful. Here's 3 cards for 3 different lenders, and we arm's length away from anything that could possibly be liable because my broker doesn't want to get in trouble. So basically, I'm a dud when it comes to anything besides I can open up a door really well. I can fill out paperwork for you really well, right? And when you say jump, I jump, and whatever it is, crazy thing that you ask for. How many of you feel like you're more of a counselor and just talking people off cliffs more than anything else? Right? That's where we spend most of our time. We're just like, please don't freak out. We'll help you get through it. It's all right. It'll all will go well. And because it's a very emotional thing and it's a lot of money. So they freak out. But we don't really have anything more to offer than, hey, it's all right. Here's a crumble cookie. It's all right, you know. Sorry, I use that a lot, but there's nothing wrong with crumble cookies, except I won't eat them. So you want to have those too. So now what I want to show you is it has to start, if you have a brand and you're going to have an expertise, you got to have a digital footprint. It has to start there online. You have to have your own website. I'm sorry. If you don't have a website, could you imagine a business not having a website today? And most agents do not have their own website. Or if they do, it's a brochure. They don't even know what to do with it. They pay for it because someone told them they should have it. Something's up there and they're like, I haven't even visited my website for 6 months. I don't even know what's on my website. I don't even know. I have no clue. If I have to do something on my website, I'm going to call somebody because I don't want to deal with it. Anybody feel like that? Right? But what's your website? What should your website be?
A search engine so people come and stay.
Okay, you're not going to be able to compete against Zillow and Truly and all these others so much, so that's a really tough thing to do. But I will tell you that you can, and most agents don't know that they can, if they're hyper-local focused. So guess what your website, remember, what's our mission again? We should always go back to that. What are we trying to accomplish? 2 to 3 deals a month. What do I need from that? If I'm going to get 2 to 3 closings a month, how many leads do I need for that? Probably a lot. 100? 50? You know, it depends on where the lead's coming from, what kind of source, you know, it is, what kind of, where they are in the pipeline, basically, or our life cycle that we call it. So hyper-local SEO, having your own domain name. So guess what your name should be for your website and for your company?
Your name,
Why should it be your name?
because that's who you are.
Because that's what they're going to remember. I am sorry. I love the idea, the thought. Utah Specialist Home Builder Finder Person.com, because it's hard to get a shorter one. So it's like this now, right? None of that is as good as what? Your name. Because guess what everybody remembers when you do business with them? Your name. Are they going to remember the rest? I have agents tell me all the time what their domain is, and I have to ask them 5 times while I'm sitting there with them to try to remember what is that? Okay, what is that? Yeah, did I get that? Utah Killer Real Estate Agent Friend. I don't know what that is, but I know your name. So I'm going to remember that. So it needs to be tied to that. So you need to have a domain name with your name. Okay? It can be just your name if you can get it. It can be real estate, realtor, stuff, whatever. Talk to your broker if you have any, regs in that. Some of them, they don't want you to say realty for some weird reason. Just work that out. I'm not your lawyer. I'm not your broker. But it should be your name with that. If you want to use hyphens, great. You can't use spaces, but you can use hyphens. Let's see what's available. So that's 1. 2, it needs to be hyper-local setup. Do you know what I mean by hyper-local? It means that everything about your website pushes them to, at least the search engine, when it indexes it, they crawl it. Have you heard that term before? They crawl your website. They gather information from your website. They're smart enough to even gather information from the videos that are in there, from other things I'm going to show you. It should be talking about Schofield. You should have 100 pages about Schofield out there, right? Now, do you have to do it all at once? No. You can do it little by little. But if you're not building content about Schofield, when people do searches for Schofield, which do you think they do searches for Schofield? If they want to buy, yeah. How do people search? Why do they want a local expert? Because they're searching in a specific area. So if you're just relying on Zillow, how many times do you get a call from a buyer and they don't even know you have a website? They found the home on Zillow. You send them listing alerts or hot sheets or something like that, and they still send you links from Zillow. Anybody have that happen before? Or from Realtor.com or something like that? Because they don't know why they should use you in that way, because whenever they do searches, it comes up with Zillow or Realtor.com. They spend a lot of money. You can't compete at a broad level, but guess where you can compete? At a deep level, right? So if your website doesn't allow you to create landing pages, so guess what? We call them funnels. We already talked to you about this in your listing advertising. You're going to have funnels. So you have landing pages as part of your funnel. Do you remember that? What that means? Or squeeze pages? You probably heard that before. So I want to have an ad with a hook and a call to action, and I want to have content that leads them to it, that's meaningful, and it creates that click funnel, right? Want people to click on it. Guess what people do searches for? FHA approved condos in Vineyard, Utah. Did you know they search for that? And you can win out that search? They do. How many of you, when you do a search for something online now, do a whole big long sentence. Why do you make it a long sentence? Now even AI can be a part of that, which, by the way, this keys into that. But did you know that? AI will answer for them, here's the agent you should use because they're the expert. Because of that content that you have. So Zillow has content about every place across the United States, and they do some advertising, and they have teams of people working towards Schofield and other areas that are in there. But if you have content that's about all of the luxury cabins in Schofield, and they all show up on one landing page, did you know you can do that on a good website? And we'll show you how to do it. It's super easy to do. You could have all the horse properties in Schofield. You could have all the FHA approved condos, if they have any. I don't know if they do. You could have all the properties that are on a lake. Did you know you could have all of the homes that are in a particular school district or even within the boundaries of a particular high school? Think of your area and think of how many different search landing pages with hyperlocal content that you could have just with real estate itself that people might search for. Do you think people search for townhomes in Saratoga Springs? They do. They search for that. Or properties within a certain price range. You can create all these search landing pages. So I'll show you an example of what I'm talking about. Eagle Mountain, Utah, right? This is where I live. So Eagle Mountain, Utah, rapidly growing family-friendly community. Do I have to care? I can have AI write this, so I want to teach you how to do that because now I have AI write most of my stuff. Now I can still work with AI. I train. I don't just let it do it because it'll write crap. I have to train AI to be my partner. Think of AI as a savant child savant, right? Do you know what I mean by that? Brilliant, and 5 years old. Seriously. And then they get a little older as they go, maybe 10 years old. If you teach it what you want it and need it to do, and it collaborates with you, and you work with it, it gets smarter and smarter. There are people you probably heard that are now naming their instance of their ChatGPT or their AI because they have a relationship now. Please don't get into the weird stuff that I'm not talking about that kind of relationship. I'm talking about a business relationship where you collaborate. You can ask it questions, it asks you questions. The more questions you ask each other, the smarter it gets. And so you can have it write stuff like this. So that's what I do now. I have basically the way my AI interacts with me, it almost feels like I'm talking to myself, but it's a lot smarter and faster than I am, right? Which is really nice because we're working together to try to figure out what kind of content we want to put out there and stuff like this. So, and I can ask it to do research for me and cite it and it's just the coolest stuff. So we'll go through some of that a little bit next week too. So here's Eagle Mountain, Utah. By the way, this was created by AI. You can do that, or you can do it in Canva, however you want to do that. So I have some information up here. What's this information for? This is very keyword intensive to Eagle Mountain. So Eagle Mountain, Utah's rapidly growing family-friendly community, known for its affordability, It talks about it's located near Silicon Slopes, like Pony Express Day, et cetera, et cetera. So it talks about that. Then it has a picture there. Guess where all these listings come from? Eagle Mountain. They're right now in Eagle Mountain, 608 featured properties right now. 608 properties. Did you know that? There's that many right now for sale. If you haven't been out there, it's crazy how much it's growing and has grown. So here's all of the listings out there. Guess what? This is dynamic. I don't have to put them up there. This is MLS fed. If your site doesn't do this, you're already way behind the curve. So this is updated. Every time a house is active, listing, sold, they drop out. All of that happens automatically. I don't need to do that. So guess what happens to this page? It continues to get indexed. Every time it's indexed, it's fresh and it's new, right? Because this is all new. So it's got a really high score when it comes to its relevance to the content that I have on here. How many of these pages could you create? I can do one for all the condos, for all the HOA approved properties, all the townhomes, all the luxury homes, all the house properties, all the, what else could you do? Those that have RV parking, those that have ADUs, those that have concessions that are being offered. Did you know this will even search within the comments, the description? If any concessions are there, you can build a page that just shows all the properties in Eagle Mountain that are offering concessions. All the properties in Eagle Mountain that have an ADU. All the properties in Eagle Mountain that have master on the main level. All the ramblers, all of the ones that have a temple view. You can do all sorts of things and create these pages. How many of those pages could you create? It's almost limitless. And the more you have on your site, and it doesn't have to be a big long list, it can be in the hidden navigation, it's still going to be indexed. People, do they do searches for those type of things? And if they're even just searching for Eagle Mountain properties or Eagle Mountain homes for sale, Guess what the relevancy and basically the score of my site's going to be when I've got 150 pages on there or whatever that all about Eagle Mountain. Does that make sense? You do that, it might take you 6 months, because you know how long it takes to build one of these pages? Like 3 minutes. I can build one, maybe I have in we'll talk about it next week during my power hour, or during the time that I spend on my business. I create one of these every single week. I just create another one, then I create another one. And all of a sudden I've got 50 up there, and then people are doing searches, and I get someone that comes in on a lead from my website, and they're, how did you find me? Oh yeah, I just did a search. Wouldn't that be cool if you could get searches like this? And guess how much I have to pay for it? Just my time, right? So when they click on one of these links right here, so they click on a link, guess what it does? Is this my listing, by the way? There's only one picture because it's not even built yet, right? Request a tour. Just like we do on what Zillow does. We modeled it after that because Zillow does it better than MLS. Sorry, MLS. They don't do a good job. In-person or virtual, you know how many people click on virtual tours now? A ton. Why do they want a virtual tour? They want your expertise, but they don't want to have to drive all the way out there. And they think, oh, I don't have to sign a contract, with you with that. Can you do a virtual tour without a contract? That's still in the gray area. I don't know, but as long as it is, you can do virtual tours with those people, but I still try to get a contract because I taught you how to do that last week. Yes?
If somebody does do that virtual tour, is that when you go in with your camera and walk around, or
Yeah.
do you qualify them a little bit before you go and actually do that virtual tour?
Yeah, and we ask all these questions about, okay, how do we do this and our ruling. Talk to your broker before I get in trouble with any of this.
But talking about my time, like I don't want to waste my time.
Yeah.
If
You know the way I
just
think
look
about it?
loose, I guess.
Yeah. Are they going to buy at some point?
Probably, maybe.
Most likely. Here's the way I look at it. I can win over anybody if I have a chance to talk to them. I can win over anybody. And once they're in my life cycle, not in my pipeline, remember how I taught you this? Once they're in my life cycle, then what happens? I've got them for life, and all the people that they're going to refer. So in my mind, like, how much are you going to pay for leads? And you're going to get all these leads to come in, and you're trying to decide, should I even talk to this person? The way I'm thinking about it is, yeah, you give me a chance to talk to you, and I'm going to win you over because I have so much to offer. And I get so excited to talk to them about it because I didn't even know an agent did this. I love it when my clients say, how much extra do I have to pay for this? I didn't even know they did this. I didn't even know there was 360 cameras out there. When I show them how to measure furniture, I love to take them into a 3D tour that I create and pull the furniture out and push it back. Just little things like that. And all of a sudden, it's like, you're a magician. So to answer your question, I don't care, right? I can turn anybody into, what am I trying to do if I'm talking about my mission? Raving fan. I have a farm. I bring them into my SOI. I influence them through service, so I don't think about myself and what I'm getting out of it. And then I turn them into a raving fan. When they're a raving fan, what happens then? Yeah. I've had people refer me that I didn't even help them buy or sell a house just because they came to me and I showed them a house or something they weren't ready to buy or something, and then but their friend is, and they'll tell them about me because I did something that they didn't expect. Does that help?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, it's also within your geographic location, so it's not like
Makes it easy. Exactly. Yeah.
you're not driving up to Bear Lake for that virtual.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And again, if you're going to be there, you have to get them to sign an agreement. So go back to last week's class to go through that. Okay, great. I did the research. I got the insider information, so I'm impressing them with that level of service, right? Here's the information that's going to help you make a better decision about this property. I can't wait to show it to you. I've got 2 other properties that I'm going to help you to compare it to. You see how I'm going through all that? Just remember what I taught last week. That's our SOP. So we go through that service offering in that way, and they're just impressed because it feels like service above what they expect. Remember, service happens above what they expect. If I give them what they expect, then they don't think anything about it. You go to a restaurant, the service is good, the food's good. Do you go tell all your friends about it? Do you have to go back? But when it's awesome food and the service is really good, what are you thinking every time you get hungry? Am I close to that place? I want to go there, right? That's what you want to be to them. So give them service. Give them more service and be all right with it, I think. Okay, it's a long answer, I know, I'm sorry. But I want you to create all these landing pages for your website. If your website doesn't allow you to create these landing pages, then when they land on them, doesn't get them to want to do the next step. The next step isn't to call you, I'm sorry. They're not going to your landing page when they did a search for a house in your area and say, oh, I can't wait to call Mike. He looks so nice in that Photoshop picture from 20 years ago. And, I'm sorry. We do that. We feel like it's about us. It's not about us. What do they want? If they look at that house, what do they want? I want to do in person or virtual. This is set up with my calendar. They can click on it. They can schedule a tour, and we can take it to the next step. When they call up, remember what I taught you last week? Do I qualify them to ask them a bunch of questions? No, great. I'm going to show you that house. Can't wait to show it to you. I got to call the agent first. Remember all this? This is part of my SOP. Going to call the agent on the listing side, make that appointment. I can't do it at this time that you wanted to do it, what are the 2 other times? But it's also about my time. Remember this? To me, I just do it like this now. So it's just flows right out because SOPs allow you to be smart, allow you to be efficient. The appointment, or they tell me to go to a line, but I also ask them really important questions. I write it down, and then I call them up and say, I got some inside information about the property. I'm going to have a couple of more. Before we head over, I got to do a quick Zoom meeting with you. I want to show you what I found. I don't say I want to get you to sign a contract. I got to have you sign a contract. Say, I want to show you what I found about this property, and I found a couple of others. Do you have time to do a Zoom meeting? Is Zoom like a big deal anymore? It's not. It's easy. So they do it. They come up on the meeting. I walk them through that slide presentation that I showed you, and then I got a signed agreement before we even head over to the house. It works. Try it. It really does. Okay? Now, going back to, are we doing all right? Everybody doing all right? In 15 minutes, I know it's been a long time, we get lunch and you get a break. And then I'll finish the last part of this, okay? So we have to get into the video stuff. Let me go here to the farm. So you got your geographic area, and you're going to start optimizing your website. You're going to optimize different places on your website. We'll teach you how to do this. If you want to use our tool, you can do it with another tool, that's fine. Ours is fully integrated. Everything's all together. It's pretty awesome. So ask us about it. At least let us show it to you, right? It's not about, did we find something we could sell you and make a bunch of money from? Obviously, we have a business plan and a business need for that. But my mission is what? For you. I want you to get 2 to 3 listings a month, every single month. And within 10 years, I want you to be able to retire with $15,000 to $20,000 a month in passive income. Anybody disagree that that's not something they would like? I will help you to do that. Just ask me and I will help you. If you will give me the opportunity, I will help you do that. If you're not doing that now, you probably want it and need it. Let me help you. So you're going to get your website set up, domain, hyperlocal SEO, and you're going to become the local expert. How do you become the local expert? Because you put your face all over your website and you say, I'm the local expert, and you do a bunch of videos about it. You don't say you're a local expert, you are the local expert. Do you know the difference between the two? Okay, so we're going to talk about that a little bit more as we get into the video side of things. My pictures all went away. Digital footprint. Okay. So what I'm going to show you then is, or what I want you to do now, if you don't have it, how many of you have a Google business account? Okay, so about half of you do. Good. So how many of you have looked yourself up on Google before? What did you find?
Not enough.
Not enough. Okay. You should own the first 2 pages. And the first thing that they should see on the right, so if you do a search for your name, it should look like this. Hopefully this comes up. And I just started doing this because I wasn't doing real estate full time. So if I do this, if someone looks me up on the search results over here, oh, it just came up with, because I'm already logged in. But if you did a search for something like Mike Anderson, Realtor, or whatever, and it comes over here is all the search results, they're right down here, sorry. This I see because I'm managing my business and it knows because I'm logged in. This is what they should see. So what's important about this? It should show, typically you have pictures of you. Sometimes it just does different pictures. So this time it's showing a house, but it shows different things. Has my reviews. Are reviews important? Super important. And then it has website, directions, save, share, all these things Google is helping me with. Then down below, it has some listed reviews, and then below that are my blogs. I'll show you in a second what these blogs are about, or maybe after we eat. These are all about top 5 neighborhoods and families in Eagle Mountain. They're about Saratoga Springs and things like that. This is what your Google My Business should look like. Why is this so important? Guess what Google wants to do? What's their mission? You know what Google's mission is? Yeah. Not as a mission, though. They want to give their subscribers, their people, what they want. That's what their goal is. I want to give them exactly what they want. How many of you feel like Google does a good job of that? Yeah, if you do a search on Google, it does a good job, I think, to give you what you want. So they want to make sure that when you do a search, it gives them exactly what they want. If they're going to search for me or search for a realtor in Eagle Mountain, if I let Google know that I am the best agent out there, because I have to prove it. I can't just say it. I have to prove it with what I'm showing you, the hyperlocal advertising on your website, the Google My Business account, other things like that. It won't recommend you, especially with the AI part, if you don't have all that set up. How many of you feel like you have everything set up for your geographic farm? You know what, most agents, as far as your address goes, where's your address? Because it's hyperlocal. Where's the address? Is it in your farm? How many have their address that's actually in their farm? It's not. So how's Google going to help you? Guess where my broker's office is? Farmington. Do I work in Farmington? The only time I ever go to Farmington is when the kids are younger and we'd go up to the lagoon, right? If all people are going to find me is, at least with the Google searches, Farmington, or it gets confused, like, wait a second, you're saying you're Eagle Mountain, now you're saying, I don't know, I don't understand. If your search engine's confused, guess what they're going to do? It's going to ignore it. It's not going to help you. So how do you do that? If you open up an LLC, how many of you have an LLC for your business? Where's the address for your LLC? Your house. Is it for your house? If you're all right with this, you don't have to do your house. I mean, you do need to have a physical address, is what it's supposed to be. But did you know that as a licensed real estate agent, you actually can use one of two addresses, as far as I understand. Please talk to your broker. If they say differently, then I'm a liar. That's fine, because they're always the ones that are in charge. But if you have an LLC that's a registered LLC for your real estate business, guess what your address can be? That registered business address. So guess where it should be for your farm, where that is. If it's not in Schofield or Salem or whatever your area is, then Google's not going to help you. So my address is in Eagle Mountain, right there. Real estate agent in Eagle Mountain. It says that. Do you think people read that when they see it and they want a local expert? It says it right there. And so here's the address right here. Yes, that's my home address. If you guys show up, I'll know now why you did that. But, so, and then they can call and then, has all this information. So that's the next thing before we cut off here so you can have lunch is you need to get a Google business account. If you don't have one, you can sign up for it. You can always search you do ChatGPT or you can search on Google, how to set up a Google business account, right? You're going to set it up. And then you're going to add as many pictures and all the information it's asking for. Fill it out completely. Every single text box in there, fill it out. Add a ton of pictures and videos into that. And then I'll show you after we get back from lunch how to add other content on a regular basis to it so that when people do searches for a agent in your particular area, you come up at the top of that search. How many of you would like that? Right? And that's what you're missing. How many of you feel like you have that set up right now? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? And you're all agents. Yes.
When you said fill it with pictures, are you talking real estate pictures or are you saying...
Just pictures of you, like hundreds of them.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. a couple pictures of you. Every time you have a listing, every time you have a video that you do with that listing, every time you write a blog, we'll talk about...
Real estate related.
Everything should be... So what is this all about? It's about my business. So it should be about that. How much content are you going to be creating about your business? It should be part of that strategy. So yeah, that's what you put up. So after lunch, we're going to go into the content that you're going to create for your farm. And then we're going to get into video. And I'll even show you some of the video editing kind of stuff. In terms of social media, this is what you're going to do to dominate your farm. How many of you have heard of a Facebook group? Anybody heard of a Facebook group? Okay, what's a Facebook group?
Your ward that has a Facebook page.
There it is, right there. Yeah. Or your neighborhood. Yeah.
Your neighborhood. Did I say word? I'm sorry.
It's, one and the same. And it depends on what area of Utah County you live in. Yeah. Mostly in Utah County. Yeah, and it's like, hey, did you see that white van driving around? Someone call the police. And, they talk about the dog or the cat. No, I'm talking about a Facebook business page that generates business because that's what it's all about. So if community expertise is the thing that people appreciate when it comes to a real estate agent, and you picked your community, I want you to create a Facebook group about that community's real estate. Homes for sale and rent in that area. How many of you have seen those out there? So I started teaching this like 10 years ago. No one had any of that. Now they're all over the place. I'm trying to take credit for that. I also invented the internet. And no, I'm just kidding. But I know it's kind of cool to see this, but I want you to create a Facebook business group, not business group, sorry, Facebook group. So you have a Facebook account, a Facebook business page. That business page for compliance and everything else has to have your picture, the brokerage information, all that kind of stuff. Facebook group. See this group right here just has a picture. This is an agent that I coached, right? They just put a picture that they took with their phone because you have to use, you can't still images, right? And they just took a picture of some townhomes in Vineyard. So they did this group called Vineyard Homes and Rentals. They have 9,500 members. 9,500 members. Son and mother, right, that are agents. She actually, her farm is in Springville. His is in Vineyard. Okay? So they created Vineyard Homes and Rentals. When they first started, they had 5 members. Like you will too. And they even asked me, when are we going to get more people? Like, don't worry. Just be patient. Just keep doing what I tell you to do. You know what they get every single month off of this? They've had to hire someone now to basically put out this because they're so busy with real estate. They're one of the top agents over there at the cases. They do a lot of business. The last time I talked to them, they're like, we get 10 to 12 good leads a week. You do this now too?
21,000.
21,000. Oh, I should be using your example.
No real estate listings except for mine.
Except for yours. Well, they're not except for yours. They're not. They're also you as a broker. I mean, as a buyer agent. They're all the listings you can put out there, right? Not just your listings.
Right, but like I just
But you don't let other agents.
There were 7 agents that just tried to post it.
Oh, they always do.
It's
What's
South
your
Valley
group?
Living. It's South Valley Living, Riverton, Harriman, South Jordan, and Lovejoy.
Yeah.
Wow.
21,000 members. Do you get any leads from that? Oh yeah. And what's nice about it is not only would she get direct leads, but when they see anybody that lives in that area, those 21,000 people and all these things that go out there, I'm sure they think you're the expert for that area.
Oh, she is.
But that's part of it.
Just today, I've dealt with 15 text messages asking who the mayors were in the area.
I'm telling you, this works, okay? You want to be the expert in your area, and you've done an amazing job. Am I a member of that? Because I need to be a member of it because I want to see it. But you have to let me post. I'm just kidding. So basically, every single time a new property comes up on the MLS from their website in that area, you create a link. And this is, by the way, this is not advertising someone else's listing illegally. This is the same thing you're doing on your website. It's called IDX. You know what an IDX key is? You've heard that before? So IDX means that as a licensed real estate agent, you have the right to market properties as a buyer agent as long as you don't change anything, because who's in charge of the actual marketing, the pictures, the description? Who's in charge of that? The broker is, and then the agent that's the sub-agent to that in the legal terms, right? But the broker is in charge of that. Can you alter that whatsoever without permission and market it? Like, can you create a video about it, and this is a great place, without permission? You cannot. Can you take some of the pictures and throw it up on social media and say, hey, give me a call about that property? You can't even do that. But you know what you can do? You can take the link from your website that goes directly to that property, and then you can put that up on social media. Have you ever done that before? By the way, that's how Zillow does it. That's how Realtor.com does it. That's how PPC does it. That's how all of these advertise it. Does Zillow own the listings of all those properties? Of course they don't. So this is how it works, is I have a website that is MLS driven, right? So I'll just go to search.homes, right? So here's my website, right? If I go to all the listings, here are all the listings. Now, if let's say that my area is going to be, we'll say Vineyard. And I like the fact that you did a multi-city and you gave it a name. I think that's great. Now, here's all the listings. There are 65 properties. How many do you think came up today? New, active, I don't know. It doesn't say on this view of it. I could do it in a grid view and I could tell. But so here's all the new listings. How many come up new, do you think, in Vineyard every day? Yeah, maybe 5. So watch how fast this is. I can click on this right here. And then here's the link. Now, if you get a big long link from your website, if you have a question mark and then a bunch of crap up behind it, you don't have to copy that. This is all tracking information. Does everyone, have you ever known that? All this stuff, if you have like search.home/listing detail, and then there might be some numbers here, here's the address. As soon as you see a question mark, leave all that out after the question mark and everything after it for any link. So that's even good when you take links off of like Amazon. Have you ever done that and you send something that's like this long, a whole paragraph of a link? The rest of that is just tracking stuff after the question mark, okay? So then I take this link, and then if I go into Facebook, I have to be on a page that I have the right to post to. So it has to be my Facebook group or someone that allowed me to do that. That's why you don't allow them to do that, which is good. So if I come over here to, let's do one where I can actually post to it. See how I can write something here? It'll allow me to write it because that means that it's giving me approval. Oh, it's pending admin approval. So I guess I can't do that yet. Eagle Mountain only has 22 members on this, so someone started this. If I had the ability to do it, it's allowing me to put it up here, but it's going to pin it, so it doesn't matter yet. But if it's my group, I can put something up here. If I put a link in there, guess what it does? Not a guess. Look what it does. What did it do? No, it didn't post it yet. It automatically grabbed a picture and created this whole thing is clickable. Did you know it could do that? Remember we talked about this in the listing advertising class? So I can put this up there. Then I'm going to delete this. And then I want to put in a hook, a call to action. Remember learning all this? Okay. I asked ChatGPT to do it for me. I can actually I can give it the description or even the link. I can give it the link of this. So here, I'll show you. You might as well see it. So if I go into ChatGPT and I can put, write a Facebook, write a hook and call to action for a Facebook post that links to this listing. And then I put the address in there. Oh, I can't access it. Of course you can. You've done it before. What are you doing? I can't access that directly. Well, I'll do this. Sorry. Having some internet issues on here. Usually it'll go right to it, but I can take the description here and I can put here's the description of this property. Okay, so basically I take that, and so here's then it creates the Facebook post for me. Here's the call to action, and then I can copy and paste it, and I can put it in there. It gives me 3 options. Which one do you like better, and stuff like that. So imagine summer nights under your own backyard gazebo. You can tell it or teach it to write, it in different ways and stuff like that. But I will take this and put it into the post itself up here so I don't have to write it. Why do I put a hook and call to action in there? Because I want people to, what's a hook again? What's in it for me? What's so unique about this property? This is something that really stands out about the property. And then the call to action is what? Click here to learn more about the property or to get a showing or something like that. Does that make sense? Then once that's put in there and I hit post and I put it up there, I have a post that's linking directly to where? It's to my website, but it's based on let's say it was this property. It's the legal IDX Fed webpage. Does that make sense? That's what makes this legal. I didn't create the pictures. I didn't download the pictures. I didn't write something different. I just put in there a hook and a call to action as a buyer agent, right? Just said this is a great property in this area for whatever reason. They click on it and they come here. All the legal information to make this compliant it's going to be somewhere in here where it's marketed. Wasatch Front Regional Marketing, IDX, and it'll say who the broker is. Listed by Move Real Estate right here, okay? So all this is legal. Does that make sense? If it's on my website, it's IDX website, it's legal. But if someone clicks on this and like, yeah, I want to see it, what happens? They make an appointment to come see it and I get that lead. Does that make sense? That's what this is. So if you create a group for all the homes and rentals in your area, and then this is what you do. Every single time a new lead comes up. So if you do this in the morning, we'll talk about it next week, and you only have 5 that came up in your area, how long did it take me to put that link up there? And then to have ChatGPT write a little blurb. It takes about maybe 2 minutes per 5, that's 10 minutes that I spent. But every day I put all the new ones. So what's going to happen to that Facebook group over time? Every single listing for that particular area is going to show up in the group. When people are interested in something specific on Facebook or Instagram, what does the algorithm do? It feeds it to them. So all of a sudden, those people join it. That's why people join them. I don't invite a bunch of people to join. Well, you can at first, all your friends and stuff, you can join it. But you'll get people that'll just start joining it. And all of a sudden, you have 21,000. She's got 21,000 that have joined it in that particular area. And they wouldn't have joined it if that area didn't mean something to them. And now you're the expert as far as they're concerned, because they keep seeing all these posts for all these properties out there. Plus, you can get leads from it as well. Does that make sense? Now, I put rentals too. Anybody notice that? How many of you, where's a place where you can get all the homes that are for sale and for rent? And why should you have the ones that are for rent in your area?
Eventually they're buying.
Yes, and if you're the real estate expert, what's real estate to people? Home for rent, for whatever, to buy or whatever. So then what I'll do is I'll go to Rentler. And I'll put links to those going to Rentler. Now, it will go directly to Rentler. I get a bunch of leads for first-time buyers when we do that. They were too, because they would actually have people that would say, hey, I want to rent this place. And, all of a sudden you can interact with them. And so you can do that, or you can work with landlords. A lot of times, if I find a place, I'll let the landlord know or the owner of the property know. And I start to work with them as they want to list on my farm page, because they want to be on there, right? And then if my niche expertise is what again?
Real estate.
No, what's my niche expertise?
Oh, investors.
Investors. What are landlords? Investors. So I get to know all these landlords that are putting stuff up there, and I let them know, hey, I'm the admin for all of the homes for sale and rent in this area. And all of a sudden they're coming to me about posting their stuff up there, and then I'm like, oh, I got someone that wants to rent, and I let them know I can build that relationship with them. Remember, we serve other people with what they need, and landlord, a good client to have. If I'm an investor specialist, yeah. So that's a really good thing to have all those up there. And then what about FSBOs? Can you do FSBOs? Where do you get FSBOs? KSL, actually, you get them on KSL. So you know what I'll do? I'll look in Vineyard or my area. I'll look for FSBOs that came up there. Now, I won't just post it because there is some legal issues with that. If I start advertising someone else's property and I had to get them permission to do that, because it's not on the MLS. I don't have a license to do that. So guess what I do? They have their phone number up there. How many of you like to contact FSBOs to try to get a deal out of FSBO? And you don't know how to do it, because in all cap letters, what does it say at the bottom of the page? No agents, I hate you, you're awful, you want all my money, or whatever they're going to say. But do they have trouble selling their homes? Yeah, they do. After a while, it's been sitting on the market and they got 5 really low ball offers. And then the one person that seemed kind of serious is actually trying to get them to send one of those checks. What's that? Western Union check or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? It's all the scam stuff. Hey, can I call you on my WhatsApp number so we can have a conversation? And I live in Orem, by the way. So why do you need to use WhatsApp? You get all that kind of stuff. So basically, I can actually I text is what I do is I'll text the FSBO owner and I'll say, I am the admin of the homes and rentals for this area, right? Page. You should post yours up there. We've got 21,000 members. That's an easy way to say it. But even until you don't, you can just say, I'm the admin for this. This is where all the homes for sale and for rent in this whole area are going. And we got a lot of people going there, right? We market it to people in our area, which you can do. You can market that Facebook group if you want to get more people to join it. Did you ever market yours?
I don't know.
You didn't have to. It takes time.
Honestly, I don't a lot because there's so much activity going on there all the time that
You don't have to.
there's just not a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that allows real estate posters.
Right, so you post
There's
it
myself and there's one other agent that's on it with me.
Okay.
Yeah. And you learned that from my class, right? When we talked about that
Honestly,
some years
I've
ago.
had this for
10 years, yeah.
Something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So it takes time.
Inherited it from another agent.
Yeah.
That went through when he was in Ogden area.
Mm-hmm.
Went and did yard sale sites across the
Yeah. Yard sales. We used to teach him to do the yard sale
So
sites.
he did
Yeah.
it across the state.
Yeah.
And then
What's his name?
it was Justin Robbins.
I'll have to look it up. Yeah. Because we used to do that. That's what we used to do.
Yeah.
And I would teach those classes.
He gave me and Jason Judd this site.
How many of you remember the 24/7 yard sale sites that are all over the place? 10 years ago when I first started teaching it, no one had these 24/7 yard sale sites. And it even came from an idea because my wife wanted to do a yard sale. And, you know, you only sell the good stuff for pennies and then the crap you're still left with, you know, and then you spend a whole Saturday for no reason. So I was like, well, why don't you just do it with a Facebook group? And then I incorporated it into a way for real estate agents to get to know people because they would use it. Took off like crazy. But anyway, that's another way you can use a Facebook group. But with this, I was talking about the FSBOs, is I'll text them and I'll say, I've got this Facebook group that has all the homes for sale and rent in the area where your home is. Go ahead and put it up there. And I'll give them a link to it. So guess what they do? They join it, and then I let them post that. You can still, you know, moderate that, but I let the FSBOs people post it themselves. And then I just say, good luck. And I do say, and I am a real estate agent, but I'm not trying to, you know, sell you anything, right? And I just leave it at that. So guess what I do a week later? I text them again. This is part of our SOP. And I just say, how's it going? Have you gotten any offers yet? You know what that one sentence says? Whether they say yes or no, guess what they need? Me. They need help, right? If they've got offers, they literally didn't think about they didn't think about it this far. They're like, oh yeah, it's like selling a car, right? Like, what's earnest money and where does it go? What do I do with this or that, you know? And they get a little scared. Sometimes they think they know, but honestly, FSBO people, that's where they run into a lot of troubles when the REPC comes into play, right? If they don't get any offers, which many of them are in that place, or they got a lot of lowball offers, like, yeah, no. And then I just respond and say, you know, if it's no, I'll say, well, that's crazy. You got such a nice house. But there are some things I saw about it that you're not maximizing what you could make from the house because of the way you're marketing it. That's my specialty. I specialize. And then I send them a couple examples of homes in the area that I've marketed and sold. And, you know, a video and a testimonial, and then all of a sudden, a week later sometimes, I'm getting a call, right? Do you see the opportunity that you have there? That's what you want to use your Facebook group for. Any other questions about the Facebook group? If you join us for our masterminds, we go through this, like you can be on your computer and we'll help you set it up and everything. But for now, I'm just kind of...
Every house that comes up, you post individually, every house.
Every house individually. Yeah, I don't do it as a group. I do it individually. Now, if you do a blog about the area, which I'll talk about in just a little bit, then I can put the blog up there as well.
Mike,
Yes.
if these houses go under contract or for sale, the ones that are specifically being fed by the MLS, that's all updated, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry. You don't have to go back and take out the post or anything like that. If the house is sold, the post is still there, which happens all the time. They click on it because that's what happens. They don't get the information until they click on it. One click away, that's the rule. And then it says, sorry, this house is sold or it's not available or something like that. Yep. So that's what makes an IDX page. Okay, so now we're going to go into the blogs and posts. And then we're going to end up with the videos and reels, and that's how we'll finish up. So how many of you thought about blogs? And then we talk about other posts that you can do, how important these are. These are actually fed, these are on my website as landing pages on my website. So I can put them on Google My Business and on social media. My CRM automatically posts it out there for me. I can even schedule it to post out, and I can put it out to all my channels at once, so I'm not having to do it individually. Do you see how working smart, how important that is? So once you get this set up, it's like, oh, wow, I can do all this. Like I had Braden basically set up all of our social media posts for our landing pages that I showed you before. I'll show you really quick what they are. He did it for a whole year, and he had AI do it all, right? We have a whole year post for every day going to these places. If you haven't seen them, I'll just remind you. So we have, here's all the open houses this weekend in the Wasatch Front. We have a page that loads all of them for the Wasatch Front. And then we have a post that goes out, go shopping, have fun. It says basically this, but we have AI rewrite it each time. But want to do some window shopping this weekend? See below for all the open houses in the area. Save your open house search where you want to shop and get notified when an open house is listed. This is fun. Isn't that cool?
This you can put in a Facebook post.
Of course you can. With the land, it becomes, because it's a landing page.
And so when someone clicks, it comes back to you.
It comes back here. And then they come on here, and this might be for the whole Wasatch Front. You can do it for just one area, but we did it for the whole Wasatch Front, for the whole MLS. But let's say I want to buy in this area right here. So they click on this, and they're like, here's all the open houses this weekend. Is that not cool? Here's all the open houses this weekend. And this is live, by the way. This is updated as things happen. And then they can even get notified. All they have to do to get notified is save search. Guess what happens when they save the search? Any idea?
Their information.
Because they get what they want. So now they're in my database. And now my database is set up to do what? Every single time there's a new open house, they get it. But it shows me that they're doing that. It gives me the average price point they're looking at, what homes they're looking at. Now I have a reason to call them. We'll talk about this next week. Once you get all these leads coming in, what do you do with them? I'll teach you during your power hour who to call and what to offer, but you have to have your site set up or you can't do any of this. You got to have some way of capturing the leads in the first place. So this is a big way to do that. So now they're coming in and they click on this website or this link right here. Now let's say they click on this and their mindset, I have to think about it from their perspective. I don't want to call an agent and I don't want to sign a contract, but I will do what? Virtual tour, or actually what are they doing here? Why do they come to this page? Open house. You know how many people we're getting to open houses now because I don't have to sign a contract and I go shopping. Do people like to window shop during that year that they're thinking about buying? They do. And what's the only way to window shop in real estate? That's why, did you know that's why open houses are popular, especially since the NAR ruling? So now they're like, oh, and it says right here, open Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. It shows right here that it's an open house from 5 to 7 p.m. right here. They may not do this. Oh, I'm not going to do this because if I call them or do something, they're going to start bugging me. I don't want that, even though I already have their information if they saved it. But they don't think about it that way because what are they thinking about? What do they want? I want to be notified every time an open house shows up in this area because that's what I'm looking for. Does that make sense? So then they go to this open house, but the fact that they clicked on it and registered, they're getting notified. I get notified too. It's in my database, okay? We have this and this is built in. Here's all the price reduced listings in the Wasatch Front. They're 3,108. Did you know that? 3,108 properties right now have reduced their price. And what do we have a lot of in Utah?
Bargain shoppers.
Price reduced listen, bargain shopping. Looking for a great price on a new home? Check out these reduced price listings and I'll help you negotiate an even better offer. Save your search and get notified for the area you want to buy. Does that sound like a good consumer offering? Ties into what people want, but it also gives me what I'm hoping for, their information and the reason to talk to them. And then I know if they click on these they're looking for a good deal, so I can help them. Now, you know what's kind of nice about this is it automatically dynamically builds this. I don't have to keep changing this or adding to it. The IDX feed automatically puts any price reduced listing. As soon as someone reduces their price, it's just going to show up here. As soon as the house sells, it goes out.
It seems like when they click on it, it almost creates more of a landing page for somebody else's listing. It's got better pictures than the MLS itself does.
Yeah, that's because we designed it that way. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we want this to be the reason they come here instead of going to Zillow or some other place. I mean, we want to help you. You can have this. This whole thing is packaged up and ready for you to use. If you want to know how to get this, let us know. Okay. We have also, here's all the $1 million properties in the Wasatch Front. There's 5,977 properties right now that are over $1 million. We had one of our agents, I don't think she's here. No, she's not here. She had her website set up and she put her post out there just one time, the first day, put a post out here. Check out all the $1 million listings in the area. And she got a $1.6 million listing the very next day because they clicked on her post, went to the page, found a house, and they ended up going under contract on that property. It was that easy. She already had SOI. She already had people that were following her that liked her, right? So she had built that up, but she hadn't given them a reason to engage with her with real estate. And maybe she did something else. I don't know. She said it was someone she knew, but that person clicked on the link and said, hey, that's the house we want to buy. Isn't that cool how that works? But you have to give them a reason to do that. And then here's all the new builds offering concessions. Did you know right now in the Wasatch Front, there's 708 properties that are for sale that are new build properties that are offering concessions right now. And not only does it do that, because there's no field in the MLS that shows concessions. So guess what this does? It actually reads the description to see where the concession is. Somewhere in here, it had to offer some sort. Oh, yeah, right here. 1% rate buy down. It actually is finding these for you and then putting a dynamic page together. And then every single week, we put a social media post out there that says, hey, here's all the new builds that are offering concession. Do you think people right now are looking for good deals from new builders in the area? Are they talking to you? They will now. Here's all the homes for sale, all of them, not just new builds. Here's all the homes for sale offering concessions in the area. So seriously, these are sellers willing to help buyers with closing costs, rate buy downs, and more. Save your search in the area you want to buy and get notified instantly. 1,656 properties in the Wasatch Front will give them some sort of concession for buying. And again, it'll search inside of the description what that concession is. Corner lot, parking, special incentives with preferred lender. That's all. Oh no, here, qualifies for the $20,000 home housing grant. It's just a new build. That's kind of a little deceiving, but it does not qualify. You know that it doesn't qualify. That's actually, they get in trouble for that. It's the person that qualifies, not the property. Here's another one. This is 4.5% fixed year FHA VA. Basically, it queries for all that and it creates a page for you. How many would like this on your website to capture leads? And then how many of you would like to have this go out on your social media post saying, you bargain shopping, or you like every Friday we have the open house go out. Every single Friday we have an open house post that goes out. It says, check out all the open houses this weekend. And then people can click on it, go to that page, and then save it, and then we get new leads. Yes?
Post it to your business page, share it to your personal.
Yes, always, if you can do that, yeah. And if you're going to post it to your business page, you don't have a lot of followers, boost it. Spend $25 on it. I mean, how many of you thought about, I would pay for ads if I knew what to advertise that's actually going to get me leads? Do you think, and we did the research for this, we know people are going open house shopping. They just, they don't know how to go to Zillow and do a search for open houses in their area because there's no way to do that. We've created something unique that you can even beat Zillow out with. Isn't that not cool? All the concessions. Like you can do a search for areas for homes in a particular area on Zillow, but can you filter it by all those offering concessions? That's pretty cool, isn't it? Okay, so those are the kind of things that you can put out there using the system that we've created because we've figured out what it is that's driving people to give us their information and get them what they want. So that's blog. Oh, and then I forgot about the blogs part of it. Those are the posts. So according to the blogs, if I go back to go to my home page, if I go to the bottom of the page, here's my social media feed. It's actually going into my website. Isn't that cool? And I can put my reviews in here and all sorts of stuff. Here's my listings and my listing blast. So this is the Orem listing that we have. You see the 3 posts up there. And then now you see, here's all properties in Utah offering concessions. Looking for a property with incredible offers, find homes that include closing cost assistance and more. This was all created through AI, even the pictures. AI did the pictures.
Is that still dynamic? If someone goes and clicks on that, is that still dynamic?
Oh yeah, it goes right to that page, the landing page I just showed you. Yeah.
So your blog posts are not static.
Yeah, there's a link.
The old way to do it, you do it, but then it was outdated in a month or 2 or whatever.
Oh yeah, this one's going to the landing page that always has the most updated list, or it's called a search landing page. Yeah.
So it's dynamic.
It's dynamic, yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Are you guys getting impressed here? Is this kind of cool? This is cool stuff. This is cool stuff. So now look at my blogs. Here's my blogs. Whoops. I'm clicking on one. Top 5 neighborhoods for families in Eagle Mountain. I want to show this other one because it has a cool picture. Here's this one right here. You can tell that's AI a little bit, can't you? That is AI though, but that is Utah Lake. That's about what it looks like. And so new home construction in Saratoga Springs, Utah. Saratoga Springs is one of the Utah's county's fastest growing cities for good reason. I didn't write this. AI did. But I was able to put that out there, right? And then it has a link. Click here to explore current builder releases, quick move-ins and incentives in Saratoga Springs. And then I click here, and then there's my Saratoga Springs page. That's dynamic. Right?
Created it with the link, or you put the link in?
Well, AI did it for me, but yeah, you can teach it to do all that for you. Yeah. Now I had to post it. It didn't post for me. I had to create the post itself, but it created the content. And then you can update it or anything if you want. How long do you think it would take you? If it's going to create the image for you and create this, and you have to copy it and put it into a blog, you're talking maybe 5 minutes. How often should you write a new blog for your website? Once a week is just fine. But now I want this blog to be posted to all my social media channels and Google My Business, and it does it for me. So in the CRM itself, my CRM backend, so you have a front of office and a back of office. If I go to my marketing, and then I come over here to my blog. Here's how I add a new blog. And by the way, I can use AI Blog Assistant, and it writes the blog for me. You want to do one? Okay. So I'm here to help you write a post, amazing blogs. Just let me know what you'd like to write about. Do you want to write about a listing? It even, like, oh, I want to write another one about Eagle Mountain. So I just tell it, I just want to write, I didn't even give it any other prompt. I just want to write about Eagle Mountain. So thanks for mentioning Eagle Mountain, Utah. To help you best, could you clarify what you'd like to focus on? Okay. And you can answer, it'll ask you questions. You can answer questions. I use ChatGPT because I've gotten so used to it. Oh, I am logged into this. It gave me that weird output, but I'll say, create an image and write a blog about living and buying townhomes in Eagle Mountain, Utah. Something as simple as that. Okay, does that seem pretty simple? Okay, and I'm gonna hit enter. Let's see how long it takes with the image. It takes a little bit longer, so I'll let it go with the image. And then with the internet here, it might take a little bit longer, but I'll keep talking while it's doing it. But that's all I had to do. Now, once it creates this image and this blog, I'll copy it. And then where it says add a blog, it gives me where I can put the title. And this will even give me a title and everything, and I'll just copy and paste it, or I rewrite a few things like that. Then I can post it, and then in Social Studio, here, I'll show you. I'll go to Social Studio for a sec. I'll go to Social Studio, and I'll go to my marketing. And we have what's called Social Studio. I have Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and what else do I have in there? LinkedIn, YouTube, and oh, this is Google My Business right here. Now, some of them you see that only 2 are highlighted because it depends on the kind of content. Like there's no video in here, so there's nothing to put on YouTube, for example, right?
Why isn't LinkedIn showed up on that highlight?
I think it disconnected. I have to refresh. It says expired, and then every now and then some of the things that it's connected to, this happened just yesterday, it'll want you to reconnect just to make sure that you're...
That's the thing in a lot of systems.
Yeah. I just reconnect, and it does it like once a month. It reminds me. Basically, it doesn't want to have some bot posting to things if you didn't give it permission, so it makes you reconnect it. So here's that. Your weekend plan just got better. Visit home. So it's showing me the posts that are out there. Here's my planner. And this is, this is my AI planner, sorry. Here's my listing feed. So it shows all those that are out there. So I can create a new post if I want to that is about my blog that's gonna go out to all my channels. So I can put the post in here, and then the AI, so we have AI built into all this. I can just say, share your thoughts or let AI shape the perfect post. I can say, create a post with a hook and call to action about the blog. And then I can put an image there. So I'll pick this one right here. So I can copy that link. I got too many tabs open. I don't even know where I'm going now. Okay, about this blog. Okay, so there, it just right there, put it in there. And so now I hit enter. So now it's reading it. No, I can use the Lofty AI. I've been so used to using ChatGPT, I'll put it in here, and it's gonna start putting it in there. I can also take that link and put it here, and it basically captures it. So here it's just taking this, but now it's gonna write it. So ready to skip the fixer-upper drama, discover benefits of buying in Saratoga Springs, or ever wonder what it's like to be the very first to step into a brand new home in Saratoga Springs. I can decide which one I like. I can prompt it to tell me what so if I click on one of these, it says use the first one, understanding your request, and then it'll create the post for me. And then it's all highlighted here. So here it is, dreaming of designing a perfect home, and then I can, I have to add a picture. So Instagram requires a picture. So I'm gonna replace this. When it captures the picture, it's different from that. So I have to add that picture manually, which I'll have in there. I'm just gonna throw this one in there. Now I can post it. It would go across all my channels. That's how fast and easy it was. Did that seem fast and easy? It actually is, if it didn't seem that way. Let's go back and see what this did. There's my living and buying townhomes in Eagle Mountain, Utah. Sometimes it's not so good, so I have to go back and say, can you fix the lettering and put it up here? Or I tell it to not put it there and I do it myself. But here's the blog that it wrote. A growing city with a small town feel. Eagle Mountain, Utah has quickly become one of the most desirable places to live in Utah County, known for its scenic mountain views, Why townhomes are so popular in Eagle Mountain. Townhomes offer perfect balance of affordability, affordability, low maintenance, modern design, community amenities. That's pretty good content, right? And then I copy that and I put it into the blog. and then I create a post that puts it out there, and I put it also on Google My Business. Now, even if people don't directly click on these or go there, what if I just told the search engines and Facebook and everybody else that's a part of what I've created? I'm Eagle Mountain Expert, and if you're looking for a townhome in Eagle, so if someone does a search on Google, looking for a townhome in Eagle Mountain or something like that, my blog will show up, my posts will show up, all those things will show up in the feed. Okay? Does that make sense? So next week is when I'm going to show you how to put all this together in terms of how much time to spend. You can basically do everything I teach you in a 1 hour power hour session for generating the appointments for your leads, and then about a half an hour a day to an hour putting together all of the posts and stuff if you want to go ultimate with it, like if you don't hire someone to do it, putting video and stuff like that together. So let me show you that video part really quick, and then we'll be done. So when I put out videos and reels, how many of you know what the difference is between a video and a reel? Have you heard reels before?
They're like 30 seconds.
Reels are terms of the time. It has to be 60 seconds or less in most cases, but some are limited. Like if you do it on TikTok, it wants, you know this better than I do. How long can a reel be in most platforms? 60 seconds, I think, is the longest.
60 seconds. I think some of them have been upgraded to about 120.
Oh, have they?
But places like Facebook usually allows you to do as long as like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And so I've seen a lot of creators basically create like a YouTube style video. They post the full thing on YouTube. They create little shorts out of it. So they post it to all different platforms, but little snippets of it. So
Yeah.
it's like how to sell a home. You have like 5 different steps. You break each 5 steps into 5 different reels that you can post into a bunch of different places.
Yeah. Now, if that sounded really complicated and crazy and you have to hire someone to do it, there's Opus Clip and CapCut that will do all this for you. So I'll explain how that's done. But just so you know, Reels will get you lots of views. If you put out Reels, you'll get a lot more views. You won't get a lot of leads from it. The videos that you put out that could be longer or short, doesn't really matter, you can get more lead gen. So there's a reason to do it. Reels are going to give you a lot of brand recognition. You can put really cool information about a community. You can walk around with your 360 camera a little bit. You don't display it in 360 on a reel, but you can walk around and talk about the park in your area. You should do a community video about once a month at least. But make them quick and easy, and don't worry about it being polished. If you want to hire someone, they can make it really polished and nice. But I'll put out stuff like something about Teach My Niche, how to buy your first investment property. I just literally sat in front of a whiteboard and had my camera from my computer film me, and then I did have a microphone, so it sounded a little bit better because I was turning around it right on the the board. You can buy the microphones like $29, and I'll show you where we have all these so you can get to them. And so I just did a video where I just taught people how to buy their first investment property. Basically, when I do my appointments, this is what I would say in my appointment, right? So I just kind of pretend someone's there, and I do that in video. Unfinished basement to studio apartment. This is one of the houses we flipped. So I went ahead and did a video about the house we flipped. Remember the before and after HGTV style videos? So I did that. Those are good videos. Do something, recognize someone else. I found that if you do once a week, remember it's about service, like recognize someone that started a business in your community or anything. Like I did this one video, my mom took me to the BYU Utah game. Did anybody see that post? Yeah. Did you? A couple of you saw that post? I got 425 or 410 likes. I got 22,000 views of this. I didn't boost it or anything, but it was a heartfelt thing. My mom calls me up and she goes, "Do you want to go to the BYU Utah game?" I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be cool." And she goes, "It's $520 a ticket." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll just watch it from home." And that's what I said. I was out of town. I was like, "Yeah, I'll just watch it from home." She surprised my sister and I, and she bought tickets for the 3 of us. We're on the 40-yard line, like 8 rows up, watching the BYU game. She spent nearly $2,000 for those tickets. But it was such a cool thing because I was so concerned about the money that the experience was like, we'll remember it for the rest of our lives, right? And we'd never been to a football game before. That was my mom's very first live football game that she's ever gone to. And so we went to it. So I just wrote a little post about that. It was really nice. Tons and tons of engagement here. A lot of agents ask me, should I put personal stuff up there? If it's not about you, yes. Stop putting personal stuff up there that's really about, I know it says personal, but make it about someone else. Someone else's wins, right? Talk about this person's wins or something great. Talk about other people. So do something like that at least once or twice or a few times a week, but make it about someone else. Then teach your niche. right? Put something out there that's going to teach them, right? Beyond the transaction. I'm not trying to get a deal. Hey, I'm an agent. Do you want to buy or sell a home? I can help you buy or sell your home. I'm really awesome at that. And that kind of self-promoting stuff is awful. But if you start teaching them about your niche, what it means to buy luxury property or horse and ranch property or being a first-time buyer and stuff like that, put out little segments or little things like that. Those are good to have out there. And then I do my kind of before and after stuff. What I also do is, I told you about this before, these are our neighbor interviews. We do interviews with neighbors when we have an open house. Right before the open house, or not right before, but a few days before or a week before the open house, we'll actually knock on the door of neighbors. How many of you knock on doors of neighbors in your open house area, right? But instead of that awkward, hey, we're selling your neighbor's home. Would you like to pick your neighbor? You know, stuff like that. No one's laughing. Yeah, because I hear that, pick your neighbor type of thing. What I say to them when I knock the door is, we're helping the Johnson Seller house just down the street. We're having an open house this Saturday. I'd love for you to come and you can take a look at, we did a ton of stuff, or they did a ton of stuff to update their house. But the people that are interested in buying the house, and this is true, the people that are interested in buying the house, they want to know what's so great about living here. So we're actually asking all the neighbors, what do you love about living in this neighborhood? Because we're trying to share that with them since they live there. We've had, at that point, they come right out and they're excited and they want to help. Why do they want to help?
They want a good neighbor.
They do. So they basically are picking a neighbor, but I put it in the context of, what do you love about living here? And then if they say something really cool, I'm like, well, I'm putting this up on just Facebook. This would sound so much better coming from you than coming from me. Do you mind if I just, you know, I'll just ask you. You don't have to look into my phone, but could you just tell me what you just said? But I'd love to put that up there because people would love to hear that. And if I say that, you know, the schools are really great or something, they're just going to expect that from me. But from you as the neighbor, that would be great. And a lot of times we get them to do that. This is a video. I'll send it out so you can see some of these videos. I'll put a list of them together, send them out to you in the email. This right here is I get a testimonial, a video testimonial at every closing. How many of you do that at every closing? You even think about that? So basically, I tell them that my business is based on referrals, thanks. And before Mary comes in to help them sign, or after we do it, I'm like, hey, do you mind if I take a quick video? And this is what I say, I just want you to tell me what your experience was like buying a house with me. So just give me your name and say I bought a house with Mike Anderson, and then explain what it was like buying a house with me. Have you seen these videos before? I'll send you some, but they are great, especially at the closing table when they're finally excited and everything, you know, is forgotten about whatever might have been difficult. They actually talk about it. And guess what almost all of my, especially on the selling side, guess what many of them say? Mike did this and this and this. And I prompt for them to say that. Just tell them, what was your experience working with me? I don't say, can you say that things are great or anything like that. What was the experience like? Oh, he had me, you know, like all the guys would say, you know, he wanted me to stage the house and I was totally against that. But we went ahead and did it. I'm so glad that we did. The house went under contract in 6 days. I have so many videos. The house went under contract in 5 days. The house went under contract in 4 days. The house went under, you know what that says when people see that? Mike sells houses fast without me saying it that I sell houses fast. I put these videos up on my social media feed as well. Yes?
So all these steps, because I've learned about them before in your classes, and I guess I get into overwhelm mode. Like,
Yeah.
And for me, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming, so that's, I want to see like your SOP.
Yeah.
When do you plan for these things? Because you know, you get all in the process of negotiating and making the deal happen, and then like, do you schedule these things out? And
Yeah.
that's my
I just have a certain
number.
time that I always do it. So it is blocked, but like this particular video, I know when I come to, because Title I does most of my closings, I will sit down with them and I know that sometime while we're sitting at the table, when it makes sense, I'm going to ask them to do a video. And then I also say to them, you're also going to get a link to give me a review on Google My Business. Please, if you don't mind, do that. And not all of them do that. Most of them do, but I have to remind them sometimes a couple of times. But the video's right there. And I'm showing the video, so they're not going to say, hopefully, anything negative, and they haven't. But I love asking that question. So that's my SOP.
And the neighbor, like, do you set that up at a time before you go do your...
Yeah, so basically after we get the listing, you know, assigned and everything with everyone, and we kind of start putting, you know, we're getting the house ready. During that time, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go this afternoon and knock on doors. So if you like to knock doors or if you don't, it's a good reason to do it. And when I knock doors, I say, my approach has always been, even if I don't record them, The reason I'm here is because the people that want to buy their house want to know what's so great about living here. And then it starts that conversation. Anyway, I've passed my time. So what I want to make sure you remember for next week is when what you just asked, Cassidy, it comes into play. So today I wanted to kind of set you up for the farming part of it, right? If you don't have a CRM, please talk to us, at least give us a chance to show you what we've already put together for you. But you've got to have your website set up. It's got to be hyper-local focused. You've got to have a domain name that makes sense. You have to have a Google My Business page. You need to have a Facebook, group with the business page and stuff like that. Those things you just set up one time, and then you can start getting into the habit, which we'll talk about next week. So next week is about the SOPs. Basically, we're going to talk about the SOPs and the routines. That's what we're going to do next week. Now, the tools and tech, that's what I'm talking about right now. Get your website. If you go to captivateagent.com/CRM, you can actually see some information about that if you haven't seen it, but there's a video that I have in there. But all you have to do is ask me, I'm right here. Just say, hey, can you just set up a time, show me what the heck this thing does, and I'll see if it's worth it. I promise you, it sells itself. I'm just going to show you what it does, and I've already shown you some of those things. Then gear we use, like if you're going to use a 360 camera or whatever, if you go on to captivateagent.com and you go under the courses, it's a gear we use page. All of the cameras, the Oculus goggles, everything that we recommend, it just goes to Amazon. If you want microphones when we do the interviews with neighbors and stuff, it's all right there, okay? Have a wonderful week. Sorry I held you off for a little bit more in this long class. I hope that you felt like today had a lot of good information to it, but promise you, next week is where you put it all together.